What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 85 of the Tastycast, our weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
I'm Josh.
I'm Chris.
And Chris gets a voice this time. Quick reminder to play Onrush and Soma. You have a week left to play those, download those, play those, come back at the end of the month, which is soon for Plus Club. We'll talk about our experiences with those games. Let us know what yours were. And our game of the month, as picked by me, was Final Fantasy 14, or is Final Fantasy 14. Make sure to play that if you already are. If you have in the past, play it again. Join Coral. Join our clan, guild,
Free company.
Free company. And, yeah. Let us know at the end of the month. Game of the month. We thought of that game as well. It's a MMO. It's Final Fantasy. It's pretty fun. I got out of the vanilla content. Hooray for me. Also, we have a Discord link down below. Talk to us same time all the time. And we are on Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, and if you're listening to us and you want to watch us, check us out on YouTube at Tasty Loot Gaming. We film every fucking episode, just like this one right now. Yeah, so with that, this is kind of a special episode of Tastycast because we are going to be talking about our games of the year. Now, 2018 has been an insane year with so many good games. It's almost been impossible for me to pick my favorites, but we're going to do the impossible today, and we're going to pick the best fucking game of the year per person and our two runners-up, games that didn't quite make it but are worth obviously mentioning. And then at the end, we're going to talk about all the games that came out in 2018 because there's so many good ones. I honestly think this is probably one of the best years in gaming ever. I really mean that, and I think it's worth talking about everything that released. So yeah, typically we start with what we've been playing, but we're going to skip over that because who gives a fuck about what we've been playing? We got a lot of shit to talk about this episode. So, yeah, do you guys want to say anything before we hop into this about 2018 as a year?
This was the year of Broketober. You know, we had Monster Hunter World, which this channel was huge about, finally coming out and being able to play it. It was we had Red Dead Redemption 2,
Yep.
which was huge. Giant fucking games came out this year, and it's almost unfair to some of them, I think, to only have 3 spots in our lineup just because it's such a crazy year. So I'll be pretty interested to see what you guys chose for your 3 spots.
I might have a controversial pick too.
Nice.
So I might piss people off. And if I do that, let's talk about it in the comments. Don't hit that unfollow button. Don't unsubscribe. We still be buddies.
It's a conversation, dog.
One thing I just want to mention about 2018 real fast is I think it's a great counter and a reaction to in 2017 EA saying single player games are dead. I think 2018 was the single player year, and I think they came out really fucking strong this year, left and right. And of course there's great multiplayer games, a shitload of them, but so many good story driven single player games came out that with EA and their decisions lately, not only are they pieces of shit, but they're also very, very wrong, which might be a reason why they're not really killing it right now in their games. Might be out of touch, EA, and people who have decided to go to online games versus their single player games, companies that rhyme with Bethesda. You guys want to say anything?
Not really, no.
Call them out.
Keep it single. Keep the single player, guys. I swear they're not dead.
Yeah?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing you guys want to add to that? All right. Yeah. So let's get into it. We're gonna do our runners up first, then we're gonna work our way up to game of the year. Yeah. So let's start with Josh. What is one of your runners up?
Okay, so
And are they in a particular order?
Yes, so I'm going to go 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
1 being game of the year, of course. 3 was a hard spot for me. Only due to the fact that I was going to give it to Monster Hunter World, just because that game gave me 100 hours of play. I dove super deep into it, and it was fun. I got to play with friends. It made Monster Hunter accessible to fucking everybody. They gave out a whole free year of DLC. There was crossover events. There was a massive amount of content for that game that they added, and you didn't have to pay a damn dime for it. I haven't put $1 into that game except for the original price.
Is this your runner up?
No,
Okay.
no. I'm just saying.
lost.
I'm saying all those good things because I feel like I have to give it to Red Dead Redemption 2 only on the pure technical masterpiece that game is. And to be honest, I had more problems with Red Dead Redemption 2 than I'm even willing to admit. I think it's very
Formulaic.
And it follows that fucking Rockstar type game. I mean, you could totally tell it's their game. An example, and the mission structure for how open world that game is, the mission structure is so rigid. It's almost confusing to me because I'd be riding on my horse and they would say, "All right, stop here." So I'd stop and I'd get off my horse. Like, "What are you doing? Get on your horse." It's only because I didn't stop in that stupid little circle and I was like a foot away from it. So I had to get on my horse, gallop a foot, and then get back off again. I'm like, come on, dude. You had that story about the barn on fire. You just got out of the window and left.
Oh yeah. But
they wanted you to do the set piece.
Yeah, to explain that real quick, I was in a barn and you're supposed to wait for a shootout to start, and while it's happening, they light the barn on fire and they want you to escape with the rest of them. Well, as soon as the barn lit on fire, I jumped out the window instinctually and I ran into the woods because like this is a better place to fight from. And or no, I couldn't get out of the barn. Do you remember?
No. I thought you jumped out of the barn, but then it was like, get back in the barn.
Yeah. The game told me to get back in. Yeah.
Text.
So I was like, okay. So I went back in the barn, and then they're like, we gotta get out of here. And then they were like, let's go. And we went out that window, and I was like, well, that's a very linear design. I almost feel like I should encourage you to switch your runner up because
I'm really confused right now.
For the one you didn't want to pick, you said a lot of good things. The one you are picking, you're saying a lot of bad things.
No. Well, and that's what I'm getting to.
Okay,
is because Red Dead Redemption 2 did stuff with open worlds that no games have done. When I walked into that game, I was walking into being a fucking cowboy in 1899. It's like I said, the sound design, the graphical aspects of it, and the details of the world are second to none. I'm constantly finding new shit. The map is huge, and you can just get lost for days in that fucking game and not do a goddamn thing. I think I spent over 100 hours in the game just in the world, and albeit it shortfalls, it does deserve this place on number 3 for me, just because of how blown away I was. I was blown away with like Monster Hunter World. So I was like, oh, it's cool. It's in 3D and stuff like that, and it's with a controller. But I stepped into a whole new world with Red Dead 2. It was something completely. It was a complete technical masterpiece. So that has to have a spot in my number 3 just from its prowess.
Technical prowess, baby. Yeah, I mean it definitely deserves to be in I think most people's top 3 at some point, just because, as you said, it is raised the bar in what games can achieve. The only game that's really gonna say anything different is when Last of Us 2 comes out. It's gonna be one of those games that pushes the bar technically, although it's not gonna be a huge open world. I was looking at they have a background for PS4 right now, a theme, and it's a car on fire, and the fire looks fucking real. I was looking at it, I was like, that's insane looking. So there is definitely something to be said about just how much Rockstar achieved. And one thing I keep always hammering home when I talk about that game is the sound design. So it's immaculate. It's beyond what you'd expect in most games. Even games with good sound design, it's better. The only other game I can think that rivals it really is like Battlefield, and I haven't even played 5 because I'm not gonna fucking touch that shit. But yeah, it's a good pick for sure. Anything else you gonna say on that?
No.
And that's your number 3. You said
That's
you're going
number
up.
3.
Yeah. Okay. Chris, what is? How are you doing yours? Is there a particular order?
Not for the runners up. There's no particular order.
Okay.
It's like you guys have said. It's really hard this year to like rate the games because there's so many good ones. But the runner-up, one of the runner-ups for me is going to be Soul Calibur. This is a game that I've been wanting to like get back into for a while. I bought a bunch of the other ones, and they just weren't as good as I think it was 2 was the first one I actually played, and that was the one that I really got into.
2's great.
This one though, the Soul Calibur, what is it, 6 now, is so finely tuned in comparison to all the other ones between 2 and now. The controls of it feel so tight, but they feel so natural, and they don't feel overwhelming anymore. I feel like I can really control my characters really, really well. The crossover like characters they have is Geralt from The Witcher, and now they have 2B from Nier Automata, who apparently is really busted. And I watched a lot of gameplay of her, and she just doesn't stop moving.
She's
She's like old
busted, dog.
Maxie. She just keeps going and flows into everything.
Old and busted.
Graphically, it looks great. There's just not quite enough for me there, like story wise. Like it's got a single player mode that's like okay, but it's not really capturing me. It's hard to really for me to sit there and listen to that story of how they play it through. It's okay. It's not awful, but it's great at the same time. It's really a runner up for me. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Did you? Which story mode are you talking about?
The Libra of Souls,
Where it's like the first person.
the explorer, like
They talk
you
about like,
control the map
oh, I
thing.
looked over here and saw him. Yeah, yeah. Where you create your own character and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's also great too.
I'm actually in the very end of that. I got to the very end of it today, the last battle, and like, see now I was kind of on the other end of it. I loved it. I was like, this is kind of neat. They're just pretty much instilled you into the story of Soul Calibur in not a cheesy ass way. Well, not cheesy. I mean, you know what I mean. In a way that's not like super campy or anything like that. It felt like it could have fit in the story. So I kind of went is it the best thing in the world? No, but it is a huge, I think, step forward for stories in fighting games, to be honest.
For me, it's hard to compete with Mortal Kombat 10. Like that was really, really well done.
Yeah.
As far as like integrating the characters and the story wise, and just flowed really well. I could understand and wanted to learn everything that was going on. With this, all the weird side missions and like fighting the bandits and the random town interactions, like I just don't care. I don't know what it is. I just don't give a shit anymore. I've done it over and over again. And here, like, oh well, I'm over here now. I'm looking for this weapon. Well, I'm over here now looking for this weapon too. And I get like that's like kind of like the basis of like the game. Originally, is like everybody's after Soul Edge or Soul Calibur, but like it's just kind of repetitive for me. I just find myself being like, okay, I get it. You're after the weapon. Let's go.
Well, in that mode though, it's more about the longevity. I think it's actually kind of neat they even added some kind of RPG element to the game because they also have a legitimate single player storyline as well. And although I do agree it's not as good as Mortal Kombat really set that fucking bar really high. That they even did something that is even remotely entertaining, I think is great because that's them joining the ranks of fighting games that have successfully done that, which is not very many. Most of them, as anyone who's played any fighting games throughout the time fighting games have existed, knows that you play the game every once in a while before a match starts. They say something to each other, and then when you beat 10 people, you get a little fucking tidbit at the end where it's like, then Ryu went and fucking won the championship. And it's just like, okay. Or it's like Tekken and you get a really cool fucking little like 10-second video, which is always cool to unlock. But like other than that, not a whole lot being done with storyline. So we're in a time now where Mortal Kombat really set the fucking bar. And it's cool the Soul Calibur is even attempting to go up there with that. Street Fighter did as well. I haven't heard anything about it. So I don't think it apparently knocked out of the park with it.
Bandai Namco, speaking of them, Tekken 7 did the same thing. They brought their story to the fucking way up also.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, fuck, I want to get to the end of this because I want to figure it out because it's like the first time in I think any Tekken ever that I can remember where they actually went through and like, these are the machine, this is Heihachi and he's the father of blah, blah, blah. And this is the reason why they're fucking insane. And like, it goes through the whole
That's one
story.
where he throws
with
him off
them.
the cliff, right?
Yeah, he throws Kazuya off the cliff. I'm not going to spoil it, but
Just tell him the ending, dude. Fuck it.
yeah. But yeah, and then Kazuya's pretty much out for revenge, trying to stop his father and stuff like that. And then of course Jin, Kazuya's son, came in and he disappeared throughout all of 7. And then he should, it's a thing, but it's an actual well done storyline that I was like, oh, this is neat. I kind of want to get to the end. And that's something that fighting games, I think, have been missing for a long fucking time. is like
They haven't had it at all until
Yeah,
Mortal
that's
Kombat
fair.
brought it. It's a new thing for
other
fighting
than the
games,
little tidbits and stuff like that.
which
And-
is my point with Soul Calibur actually joining the ranks of that.
and neat little deet when you're talking about how they talk to each other and they actually, some people will talk to each other during the fights too. Like I was kicking the shit out of Keelik and he's like, God damn, you're so strong, and like he's like hitting me back and shit and shit like that. I'm like, Jesus, like that was like an actual back and forth fight.
It's creepy.
I know.
You're just beating someone's ass. Oh, you're so strong. What are you into this?
Maybe.
But yeah, that's definitely a good pick. Honestly, it's one of my more hyped games this year that I didn't play as much as I would have liked. So that one will definitely not be making my list. But I wish I would have played it more to, potentially have that in my running. But yeah, it definitely deserves it. For me, Soul Calibur has always been about the fighting, and so all the added things they did is just nice to see, in my opinion. So, got anything you want to say on that?
Really, the only thing, and I'm just going to be echoing what you guys have already said about it, is it does play, obviously very well. I do think the addition of the role-playing mode is very welcome, because one thing I hate about the fighting game genre is that they're so hyper-focused on the competitive part that they are kind of like hurting themselves market-wise, because you can bring a lot more people in if you have more options. And Soul
100%.
Calibur has joined the ranks of fighting games that actually do have something for people who aren't interested necessarily in versing other people, or for people who want more out of a fighting game in general. So, and then as far as the story goes, the fact that you can follow along with the story mode and understand everyone's motivations and their different places in the timeline and stuff like that is a huge step forward for fighting games in general, but Soul Calibur as well. Everyone kind of already knew the story, but it's like most fighting games in pieces. You got to kind of go, okay, well, let me put this up on the board and figure it out myself. You don't have to do that anymore, and it's really appreciated. So,
Definitely. Anything else, Chris?
I spent about equal amount of time as learning characters as creating characters. The
No,
creating-
I know you've done create a character a lot.
a lot of characters.
I almost felt like you bought that game and you just made characters, and that's why you own it.
For the first 3 hours, that's all I did.
Yeah. Yeah, you're constantly posting pictures of characters you're making. I'm like, here's the fucking character creating factory over there. Pretty cool.
Yep, it's really in depth, and they every time they add a new DLC character, they add more clothes to it as well. So there's always more things to add and
Oh, that's
fine tune and make new characters with.
I'm glad to hear that, because that was my biggest complaint with the character creator. Because I felt
It's
like
mostly
there wasn't
like
that much.
simpler versions of like the DLC characters' outfits. It's nothing like crazy, but I mean it's something.
They're still adding something, yeah, which is cool. Because, I mean, they already built the assets anyway for the new characters, so might as well just throw that in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So, makes sense. Good pick. So, we got so far Red Dead Redemption 2, Soul Calibur. I'll go next. This was really difficult for me, and I'm still struggling with it as I'm talking right now. And I'm going to do a little bit of what Josh just did. One that almost snuck in here that I have to say, it's a fucking runner. It's a shout out to a potential runner-up. It's Far Cry 5, and we'll talk about it towards the end when we go through all the games. But Far Cry 5 almost made my top 3. It might be a weird pick for some people, but I like first-person shooters. It's a really fun first-person shooter. It has co-op, which is awesome. The world is fucking gorgeous. The soundtrack is fucking amazing. Done by Hammock. I love them already. So having a really just AAA fucking ambient soundtrack to a game with great visuals and a really eerie tone to it was so fucking cool for me. And I really loved the end of that game. A lot of people didn't like it. I fucking loved it. And I think Faith's whole story arc and the last part of the game and the intro to the game I thought was amazing are all fucking fantastic. And if they would have nailed it with the other two, the two brothers, the same way they did Faith, I would have fucking loved it. Would have been easily one of my top 3. And the way they did the multiplayer was awesome. So I can't wait for the new one. Hopefully it's just as good. But I'm not talking about that. That almost made my runner-up. My first runner-up, and this is a very hard one for me to pick, is Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World is a fantastic game. I don't have to tell you guys. You guys all know, and it's one of the biggest reasons this channel grew. and we've met so many of you guys, is through the community of that game. We all here are longtime Monster Hunter fans, and this one is essentially the pinnacle of where it's all come. It is streamlined. It plays great. They cut back on certain things you don't necessarily need to do in the game just to get you in and out. The monsters are great to fight. The game feels awesome. The way it plays, it's so fucking smooth. And it puts so much fucking time. I mean, I fucking put hundreds of hours in such a short amount of time into that game, just needing to get further and further and further. And it was awesome because I got to play with you guys. I got to play with you guys. It was an overall great experience. And when I think about what my game of the years are and my runners up, it's what did I have the most fun with and what stuck with me the longest. And there's a bunch of games I keep saying I'm going to come back to this year that I probably won't. Monster Hunter, I can't wait for the expansion to come out because I'm definitely going to play it. If they keep updating that game, I will keep coming back. It's just an awesome social and fun game to play, and they just knocked out the fucking park. It was a game that we were all very hyped for, and they nailed it. It's better than what I expected. That's really fucking hard to do. So like I said with Far Cry 5, there was things about it I was like, but the things I loved about it, I loved everything about Monster Hunter World. It's fantastic in every way. I can't think of anything about it I don't really like outside of, I don't know if they updated it, but the whole like no reason to go to the fucking the upper area. What the fuck is that called?
The Gathering Hub?
Yeah. They there was no real reason to go there. I think that was kind of a missed opportunity, but it's not enough to even remotely change my opinion on the game. All the core concepts of the game are fucking there and awesome. And it was just a blast to play. And it was just probably one of the more fun games I played all year. So definitely deserves to be in my top 3. I didn't think it'd make it, but the more I thought about it, I was like, there's no flaws to this game. And I loved it, and I can't wait to see more from it. It's a game that's already out that I still anticipate content for. So, definitely one of my top 3 of the whole year.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I really want to just kind of say about that is it is, like you said, kind of hard to ignore the fact that so much time was spent in it, and how fun it is, and then just how little there is to complain about in it. I think it's easy for people to kind of forget about it too because it came out like in, was it January?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was the very beginning of the year. It's hard to. It almost doesn't feel like it was this year's game at this point.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I do think it is, even if it's not in your top 3, if it's not an honorable mention, I'd be really kind of almost insulted. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything you guys want to add to that?
No, I kind of already said what.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. You're talking too much, son.
Yeah. No, you're good. Who do we do already? So Chris, Josh, me. Chevy, what is your first pick? And for my my runners up, they're about even, so I don't have a particular order as well.
Mine are definitely 3, 2, 1. And I think unlike the rest of the group here, my list was really easy for me to think of.
Chevy hates everything, so the 3 ones that stuck with them were like, oh, that's it. The rest of the game sucked.
I don't hate everything. I just there's a lot of games that I would never say are bad games that have come out this year, but aren't my type of game.
Yeah.
So it makes my selection a lot easier. So for me, my number 3 was probably my hardest pick, just because there was a lot of games this year. But after thinking about it, I have to give it to Ni no Kuni 2. I have not sat down and just nonstop played a role-playing game all the way through in a very, very long time. And I gotta say, it probably has one of the most, this is gonna sound bad, but one of the most like useless stories in an RPG.
It doesn't need to be there.
And it didn't deter me from putting it on this list. And that's because the rest of the game is absolutely amazing. It's very fun to play. They took a lot of traditional elements, modernized them just enough to not make them feel stiff and clunky, but still has that retro nostalgic feel of an old JRPG. There's lots of side stuff to do. There's plenty of quests in the game, and the whole castle building aspect of the game I thought was lost after a certain shitty company killed off certain role-playing game series where you got to build castles.
Rhymes with Konami.
And the game is Kukoden. Rhymes with Kukoden.
So, and everything about the game is just super charming. I think it shares that a lot with like the Dragon Quest series. Dragon Quest is a very charming series as well. But I think the point of entry for Ni no Kuni is accessible for everyone. I think that also really matters. So.
Yeah, that's a really good pick because I actually didn't really cross my mind to put that towards my 3. But when you mention that, I mean, how often do I play single player JRPGs?
You don't.
So
I mean,
and
you do, but-
and rarely, and I don't beat them. So I shotgunned through that fucking game, and when I was doing other things, like after we'd film and I'd be editing, I'd have Ni no Kuni on, just building up. What are those things called? The money.
The King's Guilders or whatever.
Yeah, the Guilders, yeah. And I was just sitting there building those up so I could keep increasing my kingdom. Like, I was so into it that I was like, I need those Guilders. I can't be wasting time. I'd really just rather be playing the game and getting Guilders, but I got to edit episodes for the fucking channel, so I'll just do both. And I can't really think of a whole lot of other games that I've done that with. So I was actually kind of obsessed with the game for a while. And with the lack of story, I mean, the story is really, I can't say it's bad because it almost doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's really basic.
It's I want the world to be good, and I want to build a kingdom for good people, and we're gonna do that. And I'm like, you know what? That's great, man. Fucking let's do that. And I'm playing the game, and I'm like, this game's fucking fun. If I'm having fun playing this game, building this good kingdom, fuck it, let's do it. And yeah, the visual style is awesome. It's super fucking charming. We've talked about it many times. It's the word that always comes up. It's a very charming game. The gameplay is fun. There's a lot of shit to do, and the kingdom stuff. The only thing missing from it is a little bit of customization. Other than that, it's fucking awesome. In fact, if there's a game this year that I could recommend to most people that you might not have thought to play, it's Ni no Kuni 2. I think most people can enjoy this game. It's kind of like it's just available for most people. They could play it and enjoy it. So I think it's a really good pick, and I really should have thought about that a little more for my top 3 because I really enjoyed it. That's the thing about that. Like a lot of games I'll play and they're just like they're really good. They're really fucking serious. But every once in a while I like a game that's just fun and fluffy and nice. And I was like, man, this is fun. Like I'm having a blast. I'm not just like, oh shit, they're gonna die. Oh, I can't believe they died. I'm so sad.
Right.
That is literally what Mario Odyssey was for me. Because it was just like, the whole time I was playing, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I was like, but I haven't stopped smiling the whole time I played this fucking game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's a game like that, because I don't mean to tramp all over your fucking...
No.
I never played it. That was one of the major games I missed this year. And I almost regret it because I hear such good things about it. And it seems like a game I would sit down and play and beat. So it's something I definitely need to come back to. Of course, I don't really have an opinion on it, other than it does look cool. It sounds cool, and it is charming as hell. Because every time I see Kor or a fucking or there he is,
Chris loves that.
Or
I haven't said enough this year.
I'm just like, man, that seems like a cool fucking game that people can get behind. So it is one of the regrets I have this year. I wasn't able to play Ni no Kuni 2.
How many games have turned into an emote for our Discord?
Core.
So,
Chocobo.
Hitman for some reason. Hitman. Shout out to Hitman 2. I'm playing that. It's pretty fun.
Game of the year.
Not on my list, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty
There's
cool.
about 5 or 6 games now.
From this year, though?
8? I don't know about this year, but there's just 8 games that are emotes in the Discord now.
Yeah. What's that fucking French fry's name? I forgot. Lofty. Yeah. Cool.
I almost said core.
I just the core.
That's just
Dude.
what he says.
I thought his name was
God
Core.
of Core. Fucking. I made all sorts of memes with that fucking dude. And the funny thing about that guy is he's just like the story. He just doesn't need to exist. I look at him. I'm like, you're not
Until the end.
I'm like, you're not particularly that interesting as a character, and your design is a fucking medium fry for McDonald's.
He's a mascot.
That's someone looked at some fucking McDonald's fries and went, that's a character, and they fucking made that guy.
Got him.
But yeah, that's been Monster Hunter World and fucking Lofty have been major factors of our community. For some reason.
Factors of who I am in 2018.
Pretty much, yeah. They made me who I am. I'm better for it. But yeah, it's a really good pick. Chris, you got anything to say on that?
It's a really cutesy game. I mean, it's done in the style of Studio Ghibli. It's paying homage to that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really fun art style. But
Giblets.
it's a super accessible game. I think anybody can play it. Even kids can play it and enjoy it.
For sure.
Didn't you play it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't beat it, but I played it.
Yeah.
I meant to beat it. Never did.
Well, I mean, that's the story for almost every game for all of us, I think.
I'm gonna say it though. I beat fucking almost every major game this year.
You did.
I put some fucking work in this year because I'm like, I'm gonna fucking get it, son, and I got it. The only game I didn't get was Soul Calibur for some reason. I'm a huge Soul Calibur fan.
I know, it's so that's what blows me away like so much. Like I spent like a few days playing it because it came out in October, so it was like I had a week to play Soul Calibur.
Did it come out? In
Yeah,
October?
because it went Black Ops 4, Soul Calibur,
That's why I didn't play Soul Calibur.
and then
Red
Dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like I was like, all right, I gotta force myself to play some Soul
I beat almost
Calibur.
everyone's storyline in the first week.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you're
then
playing- yeah,
and I was playing. I haven't even touched that mode yet. I played Libra Soul. That's all I've been playing, and but yeah, that's what Bloom. You were like, I haven't even really even played. I'm like, let's fucking play. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not fucking fighting you when I haven't played the game. What are you, high?
And I've actually went through and relearned Astroth because they fucking change them every game.
In this game, they definitely changed up people's combos. I think for balance purposes.
Oh yeah. No. And 2 Astroth was could be cheap. With some
fucking
throws.
Cervantes is cheap in almost every game, and I love it.
Yeah.
I just shoot you from across. I beat Rob one time just by shooting him over and over again.
Damn.
He'd just get knocked down, he'd get up, I'd fucking shoot him, and then he'd get up again, I'd shoot him, and he'd try and dodge, and I'd fucking shoot him. And I was like, this is fucked up. And then he has a teleport move where you can just teleport behind him and fucking fly through him and shit.
Yeah. But like, yeah. But yeah. So I was like, play the fucking game, man. And you're like, there's other stuff to play.
Yeah, there
And
was
then-
too.
Yeah.
Still
So
is.
it's just. You
I mean,
know,
I'm fucking chomping at the bit to surprisingly play fucking my Kingdom Hearts remastered thing because I want to catch up on that.
Yeah, I gotta do the same thing. I think about it every day. It sucks. And then
How much is that? Is that like $40?
Yeah.
I might
It's
just pick
every
that
single.
up.
Dude,
I might just
every
pick it
single
up
Kingdom
one,
Hearts.
yeah.
Yeah.
and then just fly through it because I do want to play 3.
Well, that's the thing is like I've played them before, but fucking 3's coming out and I want to play it, but I don't want to jump into a third game. I'm sure they'll have a thing in there to kind of catch you up because it's the smart thing to do, but otherwise they're gonna lose sales. But I mean, I the way those games are set up, they're more action RPGs than RPGs, so it should be easy to hop into. I just remember
Not
hearing
that long.
Rob complain. Fucking, I'm bringing up Rob a lot. Fucking, Rob lives with the channel in spirit as someone I destroy in
Now
Soul
he does.
Calibur. But he always was complaining about Sephiroth, so I was like, that doesn't sound fun at all.
That wasn't hard at all.
Well, yeah. Didn't they make him a real bitch? and
Talk shit about
won?
Rob Day, Chris.
I remember playing him. I was like, this isn't I beat him. I didn't have any problems.
He was pissed.
He's got a move that's called Sin Harvest that makes your health 1. He just casts it. He runs away while casting it, knocks your health down to
Pussy.
1, then he flies in at you and smacks you.
Smack him, I'll fucking throw him by his hair.
Fucking yeah. Like I played the first one. I got to the Cave of Wonders, and all of a sudden I was just running in circles in the Cave of Wonders. I'm like, I have
yeah.
no idea what the fuck.
telling me that.
I have no idea where the fuck to go. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then like
What's going on?
I did that like I did the circle like 3 or 4 fucking times. I'm like, fuck this, and I just shut it off. I never played it again. And I haven't played a Kingdom Hearts since.
That was me with Hitman Season 1. I played the second level, Paris. I was like, this level's too big, and I quit playing. I was like, I don't even know where to begin.
This level's
It's like,
wild.
kill these 2 people. I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck they are, man. I don't want to look for them.
Yeah.
So I feel that.
Yeah, that kind of got off track. Who's next?
Let's hold on. This is Tastycast, so fuck it. We've all covered our first runners up. So your regret for game or this year was not playing. What was it? You said you regret it.
Yokomi 2.
Ni no
I
Kuni
didn't
2,
beat it
yeah.
like I wanted to.
And then mine is Soul Calibur. Do you guys have any regrets this year?
Mine was Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah, he said something too though.
Oh.
But yeah, you didn't play it either. You regretted that.
No.
No, nothing.
No.
That there wasn't another Nier that came out this year.
I still need to finish
I
that
regret
completely.
that.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't play the. Did
one
Nier
big
come
one.
out this year or was that last
No,
year?
last year.
Okay. I was going to say,
Wasn't
fuck.
your
That was
game
my
of the
game of the year,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was my game of the year last year? I know 2016 is Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Wasn't Horizon Zero Dawn?
I think so. That sounds about
Because,
right.
Yeah, it was Horizon Zero Dawn and a couple other games, and mine was Yakuza 0.
It would definitely be a couple other games.
That's the only game that came out that year.
The one review you've ever done for this channel was Yakuza 0, and it's like an hour long. So I think it's safe to say that you definitely like that game.
I did a
Unless
Witcher
you're-
3 review.
Did you?
Yeah, remember I
we
filmed
did.
it in the fucking lab at work, and then I sent you the fucking video.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Chevy
that
did a
was
review,
super
too.
on the goddamn cheap.
Once. All right, we're getting sidetracked. So, anybody else
It's
got
Tastycast.
any fucking? It's, you're gonna make fun of me on my own show.
I really played God of-
What, Chris?
I really wanted to play God of War. I never got into that.
Oh, you
one.
didn't play it?
That's a big miss.
I've never played God of War.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
a big
that's
miss.
a big
That is a
miss,
good.
dog.
That is a good regret. Another regret I have for this year is not playing Monster Hunter World more than I did. I played it plenty, but I didn't play it throughout the year as the content came out. So put fucking hundreds of hours into it, but couldn't stay with it because of all the games I had to fucking beat this year.
Yeah, it's. I've been meaning because AT Arc Tempered Cove Teroth came out, and it's not that she came out. They just pretty much added more to the fight now. But
Well, they replaced it.
yeah,
The old one's gone now.
But yeah, every time something new came out, I always tried it. But the thing about that game is like I've tried Behemoth like twice or 3 times, and I failed all 3 times. I'm like, man, fuck
Get
this.
used to that.
And like,
Man, fuck this.
and then like Arc Tempered Volazok, because like my biggest problem is I don't have the jewels to decorate my armor. I just got super crazy good armor, which everybody has, but then everybody also has been farming jewels for 50 fucking hours. So like they have,
That's
50?
it. That's it.
so they have all these decos for, you know, their shit, and I never did that. I was just always looking. I amass weapons, so fucking that's all I did. I just go hunt shit for weapons, not jewels. And if I got them, I'd be like, oh cool, but who gives a shit for me? But so yeah, so trying to find, and that game is something you don't just jump into. Like I'm gonna do a hunt and then
Yeah.
just walk away from it. Yeah, it's definitely, if I decide to play Monster Hunter World, I'm gonna play it for like a couple
You need
days,
to
few days.
set aside some time.
Yeah, because I need to get myself reacclimated to it and decide what I want to do and how to do it, and then reskill up pretty much. So that was my biggest problem with Monster Hunter World, is I don't have the time set aside for it.
Another regret of 2018 is that I did not give DE more money in Warframe. I need to catch up on that. I have plenty of money that they need to take from me, because I love supporting DE, and I should play the game as well. Yeah, I think that's it. Soul Calibur's the biggest thing though, man. I'm really upset that I didn't play that like almost at all. It just came out at a really bad time.
I
Okay,
was looking
Yeah,
for a 24-hour stream for a tournament or something. I was practicing. I was like, okay, I got to get ready for this. It just never happened.
yeah. Well, we got into a little delirium towards like the last like 4 or 5 hours. At that point, I was just trying to exist. So,
Yeah, when I woke up the next day, you guys were still playing Dragon's Crown. I was like, Jesus,
dude, we fucking almost beat that shit.
I know. Yeah, like when I woke up, Chris's character was higher level than my character at home. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
we were grinding, dude.
fuck.
We're fucking. They almost got to 30, and 35 is the cap for your first playthrough. So I got to like 32 or whatever. Yeah,
That was a good game too.
it's don't let the looks deceive you. The game's fucking dope. And I bought that dude's other game, Odin Sphere, and so far it's dope as shit too. Let's get back into our runners up. We're gonna do the second fucking volley of them. Let's start with Chris.
Oh, me. So there's kind of a theme with all of my games of the year so far. They're not new IPs. They're older IPs that have been redone. And for my second runner-up, although it's not necessarily like in order or anything, is Spider-Man. This is a game that has finally caught everybody's like need for a good Spider-Man game again. I think the last one was Spider-Man 2 was the last really good one. And since then, they've just kind of been meh. This one, the map is massive. There's so much to see and so much to do just on the map alone. Exploration-wise, there's all these little like science missions. There's collect all the backpacks. There's collect all the black cat icons, and that's just like little side mission stuff. Then there's like the amount of costumes that are incorporated into the game all have their own unique abilities, and you don't necessarily have to stick with one costume. You can use the abilities from other costumes to kind of customize how your Spider-Man looks and how he feels and plays. And then the web swinging in this game is so well done. I don't feel hindered at all. If I kind of miss a beat, I just kind of keep going, and it just recovers so well. And the fighting is akin to Arkham Asylum, but it doesn't feel, to me, as stiff. It's a little more loose, and I can get in and out of combat if I really wanted to without feeling super punished. But it's also just like an escape mechanic. Like there's like, if I web away, I can still be shot midair. So it just feels so well done, and graphically it looks amazing. And the story it's a Spider-Man story. I mean, it's interesting-ish enough to keep me entertained. I'm not a big Spider-Man story fan.
Did you beat it?
Huh?
You beat it?
I did not.
Okay. It gets way better.
That's what I've heard. But I've spent most of my time collecting things.
Oh, yeah.
I
spent my first 3 hours collecting backpacks. I did the first mission, and it's like, find the backpacks. I found every single one. And then I did the second mission.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. I remember I was like, "Did you beat Spider-Man yet?" And you're like, "No." I'm like, well, "What are you doing?" And you're like, I was stopping crime. I was
just going around collecting things, and I don't do that in games. That game actually has stuff you unlock to collect things. So I was like, "This is smart. You're going to reward me for doing this, and not just by going, oh, you're a good boy, you did it all."
Here, have an achievement.
Yeah. That's not enough for me.
Right. And they continue to support the game. There's 3 new episodes now of extended story and content to play. And there's new costumes, I believe, with every one of those.
They just added the Raimi. They just added the Raimi Spider-Man outfit, and but it's really funny because a lot of people are like almost angry that they released it because they wanted it a while ago. I actually don't know. I don't want to be the guy who says that the community is the ones at fault, because half the time it's not them. But from what I've gathered, people really wanted that Sam Raimi outfit, and they didn't get it in the first or second DLC. And when they released it in the third one, people were like, fucking finally, and like flipped them a lot of shit. And it's like, but they did it. I mean, like...
fun, quick little tidbit. When you're in the Sam Raimi outfit, you don't have your web shooters on, because in that movie they were organic, so he doesn't have the ability to shoot it. Yeah, so he doesn't have the web slingers on. Which that game, its detail is fucking insane, regardless. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but like, I remember like there's that fucking article of that guy going, look at the bottom of his shoes. It's like little Spider-Man heads on the bottom of his shoes is the treads, and then the actual designer for that suit was like, yeah, I made those. He's like, they were kind of a bitch. or he's like, you better fucking appreciate
thanks for noticing.
He's thanking people. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of detail they put in that game.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say on
that? I'm just gonna segue because Spider-Man is my second runner-up. Also, it was the first time in a long time where a superhero game was like, you're a superhero, and I was like, god damn, I am. It felt good.
Not this video game. I am.
It didn't feel like a generic.
He's sitting around in his Spider-Man undies.
Like just like a generic slinging web kind of guy. I was like, I'm fucking Spider-Man. Like, it explored his powers well. It explored his suits well. Good like homages to him, like you're saying, Chris, like the vanity of it. Like I can literally be in any suit I want, but I can have any power that I want. plus the customization of those, the 3 add-ons you can add to the suit that gives you like defense and shit like that. The powers are really neat because they were all different.
Oh yeah.
And some of them helped you with combat, some of them helped you out of combat, some of them helped you with stealth. The story was hands down the best superhero story in a video game, and it was one of the ones that stuck with me. I mean, I every once in a while I still think about it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. The Sinister Six was awesome. I loved how, like, the side missions, you're like, oh, that was a side mission. It's like, stop, what's his ass's gang. And then eventually those side missions culminated into like an arc. And then you were actually fighting the leader of that gang, doing this bullshit. And so it was cool to see where they, I don't want to like mention a bunch of names, but, to spoil it. But yeah, then like, so it's just, everything was so well put together. In the end, it flowed so well that like there'd be like a bunch of people on rooftops like with sniper rifles. So as you're going in there to fight them, you're dodging in the air, and then a rocket comes, you're dodging that, or you're flinging it back at them. You land on the roof, and then now you're just in this melee, which is insane because it's like, it was very like Assassin's Creed counter, punch counter, but
It's funny how everybody compares it to Assassin's Creed and Arkham because that's what they remember recently. But it actually, the Spider-Man games already did what Arkham did before Arkham did.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's literally just following its own thing it created.
Yeah, using the spider sense to dodge and stuff like that. And but the animations were different almost every time you dodged, almost every time because you'd be dodging in the middle of combos. I never felt like I was stuck in an animation doing something.
That's an important thing to mention is the viability of using your moves and being able to dodge in any moment is awesome because a lot of games don't do that. When you commit to something, you're in it and you'll get hit for doing it if you did it at the wrong time, or you can block something like that. But in this game, if you're like mid swing and someone takes a shot at you, you can fucking dodge from that swing, which is something you would expect from Spider-Man. Because he has that agility and the spider sense. So it's something, it'd be very hard to fucking shoot that guy in a fight. And you feel like that in that game for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it was one of the only games in recent like memory, I mean, I guess other than the Arkham games, but where I felt like the superhero that it was based on. And a lot of the past Spider-Man games, other than 2, have been just kind of empty. And
Spider-Man 3 was fucking ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
It was like a shallow version of 2, and you ran like 40 miles per hour at all times, even when you're indoors, which felt ridiculous. You're in these big empty rooms and fucking empty ass buildings, and you're just hauling ass and shit. It's like, slow the fuck down. Like, let me fucking take the game in. Like, it felt so fucking lazy.
Also, one of the things I really liked about that game is it brought back like very mechanical boss fights. They weren't just like punch sponges like a lot of fighting games or like a lot of games like that are.
Yeah.
They had mechanics to them, and albeit they were kind of repeating, it wasn't the same every time. So like
every boss is different. The only problem, and a lot of people actually shared this opinion, was and I prefer the way they did it because they were fun, but they're all easy. None of the bosses pose a challenge. It's just like you're more doing an interactive cutscene while dodging, and it's not a bad thing. It's still a fun factor to it, but some people wanted more from it. I thought it was cool though, just because sometimes when I play a game like that and I'm on like a good flow, I just kind of like a boss fight that gets the story point across, and I can move on to the fun gameplay. It's not Dark Souls where I'm playing it for that challenge. So
yeah, plus like the mechanics were very boss based, so it was like you're actually fighting that boss. You're not just sitting there just decking out the rhino. Like you had to fucking drop shit on them and stuff like that.
Well, it was all more about the set piece and story than it was, but they all still had their own mechanics, which is cool. There's the one where I don't want to talk about it, but because obviously people haven't probably played it or beaten it yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was my number 2.
Yeah. Thanks for fucking hijacking that. I'm going second. So my number 2 as well is Spider-Man. I was gonna go next and then move around. But yeah, Spider-Man's my number 2. I'm gonna do this a little bit though, because I feel guilty for not talking about something real fast. Another one that was a contender for this, and a shout out to Detroit Become Human. Almost made my list. I need to say it. Regardless of how you feel about David Cage, I think it is a fantastic game that is their best game they ever did, and has an awesome story with great performances, and very, very cool game that you should definitely play if you did not play it. But the one I picked, obviously, is Spider-Man, and the reason I did that is from pretty much a lot of what you guys already said, so I don't want to drive this into the ground too much, but the biggest thing, and I've mentioned this already before, Spider-Man is one of the funnest games I played this year, and that's something that doesn't happen very often. All games are fun to me, but a lot of time I'm playing it for the story, or I'm playing for the deep mechanics, or the leveling aspect. I'm trying to build a cool character. There's always something more methodical about it, where Spider-Man, the game is so fucking well crafted that you just play that game passively and you're just fucking enjoying it the whole time. Everything about that game is awesome. The world is awesome. The performances are awesome. The storyline's awesome. I say this every single time I talk about this game, but I actually had an emotional reaction when I played the game. At the end, there's stuff that happens that I was like, wow, this is actually touching. It's something I did not expect from a superhero game. So credit to the writing of the game. I love the way they incorporated multiple characters that you play as, even though sometimes like I feel a little stilted. It works, and when you play it, you still are invested in the story and their perspective. There's also some really cool perspective parts where you're seeing how they see Spider-Man in the world, which is a very cool thing to see from their perspective, because they're just people, but you're playing as them and you're seeing Spider-Man working in the way you were just playing as him, which is awesome. Josh kind of got on a little bit, but one of the things I fucking love about this game is you feel like a hero in the game, and in a way that no other game has done. Every superhero game, you're just super powered, and that's the superhero aspect of it. And then you play a storyline. In Spider-Man, you are actually existing in this world that is full of crime, and you can choose to partake in saving people, and you are an actual hero. You're not just a super powered dude. You're not a superhero in the aspect of like, I have powers. You're a dude who's saving people and trying to make the city better. And it's the only game that's really nailed that. I was going from mission to mission, and then a cop call comes in, and you look down and you see cop cars chasing after someone, and you swing in there and you stop the crime from happening, and you do it in the most responsible way possible, which feels very Spider-Man to me. Jumping on the roof of a car and throwing dudes out and not killing anybody. You like web them all to walls and shit, and then stopping the car and making sure it doesn't fly into people makes you feel like an actual superhero. They fucking nailed that. That's the one thing everyone complains about when they play most superhero games. Is like, I don't feel like I'm a superhero. Like, I don't feel like I'm saving people. From the get-go, when the game starts, you're just running around saving people. That's the whole point. And even with the villains, you're not like, I'm gonna fucking kick these guys' asses. You're like, dude, why are you doing this? Fucking, okay, I guess I'll stop you again. We're gonna do this shit again. Like, he's not even like reveling in the, like, I'm gonna defeat the enemy. It's just like, dude, you gotta stop fucking, like, breaking the law. Like, it's very Spider-Man. The quips are good. Like I said already, the performances are awesome. I really enjoyed them. Yeah, it is definitely one of the funnest games to play all year. Like I said already, the collectibles are interesting and worthwhile getting. All the different suits is fucking awesome, and they all do something different, which is awesome as well. It's cool to look at your character, and you can separate the two too. You can pick a suit and the ability that it came with, and then interchange that, which was smart on their part, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just been like, okay, when you pick that suit, you get that move. No, once you get the suit, you unlock that move, and now you can pick from that, which gives a really cool feeling of building a character almost, added with your abilities. The game is just so well crafted. My only thing that I didn't like about the game, and it's not even fucking anything important, but I'm an audio nerd, is the audio in the city is flat. And not a big deal. It's just, if they would have nailed that, the immersion would have been fucking perfect. But yeah, I again, kind of, you got your themes for your picks, Chris. My big theme is, what did I come out of? Just loving every aspect of it and fucking thinking about it after I played it. Monster Hunter World, fucking Spider-Man. These games are fucking almost flawless. They're almost perfect games. I can't really say there's a perfect game, but when it comes down to what you can get out of a game. Fun gameplay. Being able to play with people, although you can't do that in Spider-Man. Great story, great graphics. Fucking Spider-Man nails it. I mean, it just does everything perfect. And it's just a blast to play. It's one of the, some games I'll play and there's a part where I'm like, that could have been better. Or, okay, I got to get through this part. Never felt that once in Spider-Man. I fucking loved the whole experience. So when I was done with it, I wanted to play more of it. So that's my second pick.
Just real quick, one thing I just want to add: the villains in that game felt real. They weren't just like bad to be bad.
Yeah. Bad to the bone, baby.
You know, like every
They
villain,
all had ambition, which was cool too. They kind of, without talking about the end too much, towards the end part, there's ways to find out why certain villains are after you, and they all have their reasons, which is very cool and makes the world feel alive.
Yeah, and the whole, you know, and watching your mentor in the lab just do the downward spiral and stuff like that. Like the whole time I was sitting there watching, I was just gripping. So it was interesting to me because I was like, when's it gonna fucking happen? When's it gonna fucking happen?
They took some really cool angles with certain characters from the comic books and how they incorporate them into the world, and how you pretty much know, because you've fucking seen a movie or heard of Spider-Man before, that these people will become villains, but the way they're going to it and how they're making them get to that point was better than any of the movies, in my opinion.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just seeing. You're right. Seeing that the ambition that they had. It's not that I felt like bad for them because they're obviously pieces of shit doing bad things, but like they had a reason to be doing those things, and the game really explained it in a way that was very neat to experience, because the whole time I was like, you know, you're not that bad of a person, like Rhino.
It's important as a villain to have a reason to be a villain and not just be a villain to be a villain. That's really boring. It's acceptable, but it's boring. Whereas like if you know, Rhino wants out of his fucking suit. So I mean, like that's a fair reason to want to, like, I keep getting in trouble. I just want out of this shit. Like I don't want to fucking wear this anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't get out of it. So fucking someone's got to help me, and I guess I have to do some shit for them.
Yeah.
It makes them feel real, like they're actual people, because they have, you know, wants and needs, but they also have like, I'm kind of stuck in this situation. Like it makes you empathize for them.
Yeah, and the game doesn't take place as an origin story, which I fucking love.
Right.
And because I'm so sick of that fucking origin story. And so you're existing in a world that's already been going on. It's a little further into Peter Parker's storyline. And so these villains he's encountered before, and we all know he's encountered them before from the comics and all that shit. So it's cool that they got to this point where they're bringing these villains that we know and love into the game, and their ambitions are based off of things that we kind of assume from their past, from, you know, watching the movies, reading the comic books, playing prior games. But yeah, they just really tried to craft a world that's been existing.
And not done in a shitty way either. A lot of games like that like to do like a big fan service, like just shoehorn every single villain that they can in there.
Yeah, nothing was shoehorned.
Yeah, to try and like make it be like, oh, there's what's his ass, you know, and people are fucking excited to see.
There's a dude with a mask and a shirt that
Man
says fucking what's his ass on it.
and, you know, and Arkham, because Batman was pretty bad about that. Oh, you know, you'd see like a villain, you're like, oh, okay, so they just put him in there for no fucking reason, you know, other than you can look in a window and see him or something like that.
That's fan service, yeah.
But like Spider-Man did it in a way where it was like fan service, yet they had a reason to be around, and it didn't feel like Spider-Man 3 where they just jammed too many fucking villains into something.
The movie.
Yeah. So
Movie's
yeah,
garbage.
it was like I'd say they did villains super fucking well in that game, super fucking well.
Yeah, and they did in a way too that the next game is opened up to. I mean, obviously Spider-Man's not short of having villains, so you know they can do whole new things, and obviously people are gonna want Venom, Carnage, and all that shit. But you know, these villains, you know, they all had arcs that show that they will grow into the next games as well. So they did it in a really smart way. Yeah, so that's my second pick. So that leaves you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is your second pick?
Well, first off, I'm just thrilled that all three of you are giving Insomniac Games so much love, because
They didn't get at the awards.
yeah. I've been a fan of that company for a while. I'd never liked the one where like, oh, they're amazing, but like Ratchet and Clank's always been a fun game for me, and I especially with the reboot that they did recently, it was a super like polished and well done game, and then the little bit of play to Spider-Man, they did it again. It's a very polished and well done game.
Well, and the thing that's cool about that too is Sunset Overdrive was only on Xbox and didn't do super well, and now it's finally out on PC, which is really cool to see, and hopefully get some recognition. I played it, I thought it was okay, but that game kind of had me scared that Insomniac was going to go under because it did not do as well as you would hope a company as famous as Insomniac would do. So it's awesome to see that didn't do shit to them. They just put out their best game they've ever made with Spider-Man after that. It wasn't like, well, fuck, we got to really scrounge up resources to make a game to stay relevant. They're just like, we're going to make a fucking, the best Spider-Man. And I legitimately mean this, the best Spider-Man game ever fucking made. And they did it so fucking confidently. So it's like, it's cool that they didn't go anywhere. And if anything, I guarantee they're just going to get bigger and better now from this.
For sure.
Outside of their community manager on Twitter needs to shut his fucking mouth.
Damn.
It's a lot of companies.
Yeah, I'm sick of that shit. Anyway, the game is still great. They're great, but that guy shut the fuck up.
You know.
Social media in general is fucking pretty toxic for a lot of developers lately.
They need to keep those people's mouths shut. You're a company, motherfucker. Anyway,
They're the company?
Insomniac is.
I know.
The person is, yeah. You're part of that fucking company. You're the company. Shut the fuck up. Stop talking shit to people who buy your games.
100%.
Dickhead.
How can you be that dumb? Anyway,
Yeah, so
Battlefield.
I'm gonna be the combo breaker here. Sorry, guys.
Motherfucker.
We're not sweeping through with Spider-Man. Though I do think it's a good game. I think Spider-Man in every aspect is kind of like the "this is fine" category for me.
Sure.
So it's not bad. It's just obviously
You have to be a real asshole to be like, oh, fuck that game.
there's nothing wrong with it. I also don't think it's like amazing in any part either. So
Amazing Spider-Man.
he is the amazing Spider-Man. Someone's gonna be like, it's actually not that Spider-Man. Anyways,
No, we got a great community.
I actually think the suit's in there. The Amazing Spider-Man suit's in there.
There's
Anyway,
a lot of suits.
off track.
so for me, my runner-up is gonna be probably not that crazy of a pick. Not too many games keep me for 100 hours, let alone 300 hours plus. So Monster Hunter World is my second game. It's hard for me to not even put it in my list just because of the fact that it kept my attention for a very long time. I played for hundreds, plural, hours. I never was bored playing it. I could fight the same exact monster over and over and over again and grind it out, and I never was under the thought process that, oh, here we go, I'm grinding it out again. I was just playing and having fun the whole time. The game, with the exception of the weird, gathering hub thing, the co-op just works. The fight, it adjusts to that really well, I think. And when you don't have enough people, the Palico system really works really well in that game as well. They really built a modern day, this generation Monster Hunter, and it shows in every single way where you're playing it. The game's gorgeous. The mechanics are really well done. They
dope.
They took all the cool little stuff that you got from the DS, and they just really embraced it, which I always get kind of afraid of when they're trying to reach Western markets with Japanese games, and they just were not afraid to make Japanese Monster Hunter, and it worked. We played the crap out of it over here as well, so they got a bigger audience than just the handheld market, which was great.
Yeah, I mean they've pulled in a bunch of people who've never played a Monster Hunter ever, and that's fucking awesome because
Huge.
Monster Hunter's been around since PS2, man. Like it's fucking been around for a while, and so that they were able to make an accessible game that still we love, but can be something that people, you tell someone, oh, the game you just fight monsters, and they're like, okay, well, that sounds okay. And you show them it, and they're like, oh, that looks cool, and they fucking play it, and they like it. Like it's just been awesome to see the community grow and into the mainstream. Monster's never been fucking mainstream.
No.
I was gonna say when you said like this generation like Monster Hunter, it did make me think. It seems like Monster Hunter seems like it's like catching up. Like there was never like it was
handheld game.
that generation for like the
It's like
handheld.
EDF. It's that people like it for the gameplay, so
Yeah.
they safely can just kind of up the textures, keep it basic looking, but keep the main mechanics in the game of what people want. They want to hunt things, they want to gather things, they want to build shit. But this one, they actually took that fucking step, and they didn't just take like the last game and build up the graphics and add some stuff to it. They made a full-fledged fucking new game with new graphics and new technology.
Yeah, going back to one of the older like Monster Hunters, that game was straight up. It was more of a duel. It was more of like you versus the fucking monster, because there's literally nothing in the playing field. Like
There's a couple things, but
yeah,
not
but it's
nearly
like they're
the same.
mostly fucking empty.
Yeah.
But in Monster Hunter World, everywhere is packed with shit to
Yep.
grab, to mine, to fuck with, to jump on the monster with.
The maps are incredibly detailed, which is amazing.
And of course you're right. They, the whole making it accessible for all. Like as I'm running by an herb, I don't have to stop and go. I can just go snatch, and then I can just keep fucking running. Even in the middle of battle, they got rid of the Superman pose after you heal. Because like you would just be like chugging a fucking potion, and then you're just like watching the fucking monster, like, please don't hit me.
Yeah.
And and then you do the Superman man pose, and then in this game you're like walking quickly, chugging your drink. And you're like, don't fucking look at me. And so it's like those little things I know brought in people, because I remember seeing a bunch of videos when Generations Ultimate came out for the Switch, and they're like, this is what's different, because Monster Hunter World was like their first like Monster Hunter game.
They had to warn people because they're about to take a step back as far as like tech aspects of the game go. Not fun wise, because it's still an amazing
Well,
game.
the streamlining, I don't know if I'd necessarily say it brought people in, but it made it more accessible if you're going to show the game to somebody, because there's less things they have to worry about and less pacing they have to time out in their head. They just, you get in there and you fucking run around. And I think that's important to keep people in the game. They're less discouraged, because the like in Phantasy Star, it's really weird, but Phantasy Star Online, you could just mash the button to hit things, but if you timed it, you got better hits. Yeah, you got crits. And so stuff like that, it's not for everyone. Some people don't want to fucking time their hits every time they play a game. Just like in Monster Hunter, there's a lot of like, okay, now's the time to pause and do your thing, because there's a whole fucking animation you got to take care of. But also the monsters were less visceral in their animations and less crazy, because there's a limited console. Now we got a console that can handle crazy animations and Nergigante fucking jumping across the whole fucking map at you and shit. So it makes sense to streamline the process and make drinking a potion something you can do while moving, and just get you back into the fucking more fast-paced action. And so, yeah, if you're a new person coming into it, you don't have to have someone sit you down for like 10 minutes explaining to you, like, when you do this, you're gonna want to fucking do it at this time. It's more natural. It's kind of like when you grab an iPhone and you just fucking get it. It just makes sense. They did a lot of streamlining to it to really westernize and make it more accessible.
And they really married it really well for people who are veterans of the series, because like the combat, you can just do like standard combos in the combat, but every weapon has weird little
Advanced
tiny techniques to
yeah.
use, and that'll give you that edge over the, like there's certain moves with the hammer that I only use when at certain times,
Yeah.
because it'll knock the monster out or something like that, or or smashing its fucking face or something like that. So it's little things that I've learned over time, but anybody can just jump in and start swinging the hammer around. But it's those little minute nuances that really, I think, play to the veteran strengths and wants and needs of a Monster Hunter game. So,
Want to hand it back to you though, for your runner-up.
Well, I mean, you pretty much talked about most of it. I just think that for the most part, I had to pick it because I played it so much. It was a lot of fun the whole time I played it. It's still fun, when I play it now. So
Yeah. So, is everybody on the runner-ups? All of them? Anybody have anything else to say about Monster Hunter World? Chris? I hate it.
I could segue into it if you want.
Oh,
Okay, well let's okay, so we can do that. You go first, I'm gonna go second. And
Okay.
then we'll do Chevy Josh. Josh should be last.
Okay.
So we're gonna hop into our game of the year, which is obviously the game we pick above all the rest of them. Obviously, it's been very hard for me, so I'm assuming it's been hard for you guys to pick those games. If you've noticed my runners up, there's 2 games that should probably have been on that list in some place. So I'll let you guess where I'm going with that. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to piss people off. So,
oh god,
well, not just because I didn't even mention one of those 2 games. So,
well, I didn't either. So I have to pick between them. Yeah, I picked Monster Hunter World and fucking Spider-Man. So yeah, if you want to give a little bit of a criteria of why something makes your game of the year, and then go ahead and spill it on us.
So overall, for me, a game of the year would be a game that I enjoyed the most playing and spend the most time in. Not necessarily how well the graphics are done or how well the sound is or things like that, but just my overall enjoyment of playing the game and the longevity the game has had for me. And for me, that is the segue Monster Hunter World. I've been waiting for a long time for Monster Hunter to come to a console outside of the Wii one that was really well done. And this is the like current pinnacle of Monster Hunter games for me. The world has been redone where the zones are no longer individual loaded zones. It's all one cohesive world per map, and it feels like it's alive and breathing. Like all the animals kind of skitter about, all the wildlife is there doing their own thing. Certain times of day, there's certain animals that show up, have different behaviors. All the large monsters, generally in Monster Hunter, are unique in all of their attributes. No two monster even attacks similarly. They might have a tail swipe, but they all do it in different ways. They'll have different animations for them. They all have different properties to them. There's so much in depth to this game that it's just it captured so much of my life and still does. I'm still playing it. I played it last week. A friend of mine bought a PlayStation 4 and got Monster Hunter, and I'm trying to help guide him through it. And then at the same time, I'm trying to gear myself up again for the update that's coming out with the Tundra. I'm still fighting the Behemoth, trying to get all of the Final Fantasy gear. The crossover events, even though most of them are within the parent company of Capcom, they're still great and fun events. And the gear, unlike previous Monster Hunters from crossover events, is usable. Before it was just kind of this, oh, fun, look at me, I can look like Dante, but let's put on my real gear now. Now I play as Dante sometimes if I feel like I need a lot of fire resist and I want to be able to smash the monster really hard. There's even the layered armor aspect of the game they added to this, where now you can have not all the armors, but a lot of the armors that they add, special armors, can be cosmetically applied over gear you make and build already. And there's so much to this game. They keep adding more. The content is constantly being pushed out. The seasonal events, well, it's different from older Monster Hunters where special events where you downloaded them, you can play them all at the same time. Now they kind of have a seasonal rotation thing, which at first I was really against. I was I want to play it now and I want to play it when I want to play it. But now I really enjoy it. I find myself looking forward to oh, it's going to be Christmas soon, so they're going to have their holiday event. So I can go back and get maybe some of the gear I didn't get or get some new gear. There's just so much in depth to this game for me that it's hard for me to pass it up. It's my game of the year.
Yeah, and one thing that keeps getting mentioned when we talk about this is the support that they've put into the game. I mean, when they made this AAA console Monster Hunter World for everyone to enjoy, including veterans and new players, they also just went all the fuck in and just went, we're not only going to make an awesome game, we're going to support the fuck out of it in a fair way. We're going to release new content for this constantly, keep people fucking loving this game. It was the perfect fucking play for them to do. They just nailed that game. If you wanted Monster Hunter to succeed on console and done right, they did it.
And you gotta imagine Capcom was borderline probably nervous to spend that kind of money on a Monster Hunter game.
Probably
because
for mass audiences.
Yeah, the audience was extremely niche. There's literally just people who played Monster Hunter, and so they really, which is obviously becoming less rare, but has been rare for a long time. They took a risk. And a lot of companies are starting to do that recently, and I'm really glad because we're getting a lot of really great things out of that again. So yeah, I'm thrilled that they were able to do that. So.
I'm thrilled that, and it makes sense, but I'm thrilled we're all giving Monster Hunter World some love because it did get released earlier this year, and it did get mentioned at a lot of awards, but it didn't win a whole lot. And it's a fantastic game, and just that people I know are buying it brand new now and being interested in it shows that it's just a game that a lot of people can hop into and play. There's a lot of charm to it.
My 2 games I've mentioned so far were both in the first quarter of this year.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Chris? Game of the year, 2018.
Yeah, it's my game of the year, and I'll keep playing it. That's the thing. It came in the beginning of the year, and I've played it all the way through. I don't think there's any other games other than like MMOs that I've done that with where I play all year.
Which is great because a lot of MMOs will keep your time, but they typically aren't game of the year material. You just are continuing your journey. Whereas like Monster Hunter really nailed it as a game, and they supported it like an MMO.
The MMOs have the hook factor. That's what they have. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they want like, oh, you leveled up. Here's some new shit coming. You want to get the next level, and you get to go further and get some new gear. Well, you got to keep playing. Yep. And yeah, Monster Hunter really doing the almost like games as a service, but not quite. Doesn't feel cheap when they release new stuff.
For sure.
It always feels intended and well balanced and exciting. They do a really good job with getting the community excited about new stuff. So
it's definitely a project of love for them.
100%.
I mean, if you look at the Behemoth fight, they took so many aspects of Final Fantasy 14.
Super respectful, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like there's meteors that will hit the ground, they'll stay on the ground, and then it has this super mega move called Comet, and if you don't hide behind the meteors, it's an instant wipe, just like it would be in most Final Fantasy games. It's this huge hulking monster that just could one-shot you at any moment.
And a tanking mechanic that doesn't exist in any other fight. So
right. It's got a threat meter of its own, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
I want to play it right now.
I actually almost hopped on it last night, which is kind of weird. Yeah, because I haven't played it since it came out. That's when I put all my time in, was the first like week or two.
Yeah, I know you've been playing recently. I'm pretty sure. Have you dabbled in it recently?
He's been flirting with it.
The 3 of us would probably all have to warm back up.
I was like, I'm really flirting with the idea.
Yeah.
But
I always do, but that's a lot of games anymore.
I'm just at the point this year where I finally can fucking take a breather. I've beaten everything pretty much that I really cared about. So it's nice that I can finally go like, you know what, I can fucking just play where the fuck I want now.
Though I am pretty pissed off that Black Ops 4 is fucking killing it with like content and stuff like that, because I'm like, I really want to get through that and play it and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck, but I have like EDF 5 came out and shit like that. And
I sneak that in every once in a while.
Yeah, and any game I want to catch up on, I'm like, god damn it.
Shout out to EDF 5. It's a fantastic and very fun game, but it's not game of the year.
Oh, no,
but it's
great.
It's fucking dope. It's dope as shit. Also shout out to Black Ops. It's fun. I play it way too much. I think I'm like almost prestige 6 now. So
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that's fucking stupid. I'm like in the 40s right now. On my
I think that's
prestige.
the highest prestige you've ever gotten in any Call of Duty ever.
Yep. Yeah, that tier system they added really made that game fucking crack. Sometimes I'm not even enjoying myself. I'm just playing it. I'm just like pissed off. I'm like, I gotta get that fucking tier, dude.
I'll say that's literally that MMO hook right there.
Yep.
I was grinding.
That's
14 earlier.
It's a grind. I'm just like, I gotta get that fucking tier.
One more match.
Yep.
The crazy thing about Black Ops 4, real fast, I don't mean to interrupt anything, is that if you get tired of one part, the multiplayer or whatever the hell you're playing, there's 2 other almost full fucking games there that you can just jump into.
Yeah.
All competitive.
And when you're playing hardcore like I do constantly, and you're starting to feel burnt out because you just knocked out 3 prestiges in the last 2 weeks, I hopped over to core, and there's more game modes there, and I started playing Heist and the Safeguard, and I'm having a blast again. So that game's also not game of the year in any means, but it is a very fun and more addictive Call of Duty, and I recommend it if you like online shooters. If you don't play it. You're not gonna like it. But yeah, I don't know how we got on the topic of those games.
We were talking about Monster Hunter World and how it is borderline games of service, and then did shout outs to EDF and Call of Duty.
Yeah. So we're all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can move into mine.
Yeah.
Whew, okay. Yeah, so 2018 has been a really fucking rough year because it's been full of fantastic games, as we keep mentioning multiple games. And every time I come up with my runners up, I have to mention other games because, like I said, I literally feel dirty not mentioning them. I feel bad. I feel like I have to take a shower because they deserve to be mentioned. They're so fucking good. But there's other games that are just a little better. And my game of the year, there's two big high-profile games that came out this year, bigger than everything else. And I have to pick one of the two, and the other one could have made my runners up, but I feel like some of those games really needed to be mentioned more so. And yeah, so my pick for game of the year, which is really interesting, very, very funny that it's such an easy pick for me. And when I first played it, I knew it was game of the year, and it never changed, and I never got swayed from it in any way. God of War is my game of the year, 100%. I remember playing through it and I was like, this is not only game of the year, it's one of the best games made in the last couple years. It is a fantastic pinnacle of AAA development, a masterclass in every fucking way, from game design, gameplay, storytelling, visionary world of a fantasy Norse mythology. It is just the pinnacle of game. It's the reason that games as creative form exist. It pushes the bar up so high. Last time I felt this way about a game was probably Last of Us, which is high praise for me because Last of Us is one of my favorite games ever made. And God of War, I've said it. I alluded to it a little bit before this episode that God of War is one of those games that comes out every once in a while that when you're going back through the eras of consoles and you talk about the greats, for me, it's part of that discussion. When you talk about Metal Gear Solid, when you talk about Final Fantasy VII, when you talk about like Halo, whether you like that or not, it's one of those great games that comes up. We talk about The Last of Us. I think God of War absolutely is part of that discussion and should be. That I'm seeing it winning Game of the Year on IGN and winning Game of the Year at the Game Awards is amazing because typically my pick doesn't make it. And I can normally speculate on what's going to win. Mm-hmm. And I thought Red Dead Redemption 2 would win, and it deserved to win 100%. Just like God of War deserved to win. So I was very happy to see God of War winning, and I'm glad to see that it resonated with people so much that they're so passionate to vote for it to win because it came out on one console.
One console. Yeah.
So people who either had access to play it or who are only on PS4 or not playing on or people on Xbox who don't have a PS4, the people on PS4 had to vote for it, and enough of them voted for it and it won, which is insane. It's awesome to see that because it is the. I keep saying pinnacle, but like it doesn't get as fucking pure as God of War when it comes to passion. You listen to Cory Barlog talk about this game, and he believed in it so much, and he risked so much with it. And even when they first early developed it, I forgot the guy who runs Sony. He came in, he wasn't into it. He's like, I don't think it's that fun, and they had to restructure it in a way to make it more fun to play, But yeah, I hold it up there with like, it's just a visionary experience, completely enthralled. And the thing that's insane about this is I am not a God of War fan when it comes to the series as a whole. I don't care about the prior trilogy, and I respect it, but I've never liked it. I always thought it was ridiculous. The mythology's neat, but Kratos never worked for me as a character. And what they did with Kratos in this game is fucking insane because not only do I think he's an awesome character, he's still the same character from the last three games. And they did it in such an interesting way that I see him as just as the people who made the game and the maturity of the game, it has grown, so is he as a character. And all the things that he did in the past and all the crazy, ridiculous things and all the murder and shit, they have made that a part of his character in the new game. They could have rebooted the whole thing, and this was a soft reboot in a sense, but it still is the same storyline. Mm-hmm. And it's fucking fantastic. The storyline I can't talk about. I'm not gonna, because you really got to experience it. But for me, I keep equating it to like back when I still liked Star Wars a lot. I still like the prior ones, obviously. or any epic, when Lord of the Rings came out or anything like that, you'd watch this crazy epic story unfold with twists and turns and characters you get invested with who have character arcs. They grow. You want to know where they're going. People you care about what happens to them. Villains, you want to know what their ambition is. And then the fucking end comes and you have so much more to want to know about what's going to happen next. You're speculating. You're like, oh shit, they opened it up. This was the beginning of a bigger storyline. And if we know anything from the prior trilogy, we know this is going to get big. And they really just nailed it. I beat God of War and I was like, somebody beat it. I got to talk to somebody about this. Like it's so fucking good. And I'm glad to see that obviously I knew you were going to beat it, but you beat it.
I beat it.
And it's just a masterclass in fucking gaming development. I could talk about it all day, but yeah, the combat is better. I should talk about the gameplay a little bit. Fucking the combat's fucking fantastic, and I'm just talking about the idea of God of War as just a piece. The combat's awesome. It's visceral. It has ways to add certain things to your combos. It gets really technical and you can get really fucking creative with the way you fight things. It's way more complicated than I assumed it would be, especially coming from the prior series that was essentially a hack and slash. This really makes the combat just like you're grabbing people and fucking punching them in the head, throwing them and throwing your axe at people and other weapons you might get later. I'm sure you know about, but I don't want to be that guy. And it has surprises that come up. You genuinely get surprised. It has great pacing in its gameplay and its reveals and items that you get later in the game that feel like rejuvenating to your experience. You've been playing this long and then something new gets added like later in the game. You're like, whoa, I have a whole new thing to do now. The character development between Kratos and Boy, Atreus, is fantastic. I figured it would be because those kind of stories always resonate with me. I love stories that are kind of based off like The Road, like The Last of Us, where it's somebody who's protecting someone who's younger, who they have to train for this world that when they're not around, they need to be prepared for. It's that kind of story. Although now we're dealing with gods, so it's like Kratos as a god has to be. It's just different feeling. It's fresh feeling, which is awesome. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. It's in every way. The graphics are fucking fantastic. Like we can talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, which absolutely should be on people's Game of the Year list. 100%. It should be their Game of the Year. But when we talk about technical marvel, yes, they pushed it further with the vast amount of things they put in that fucking world. But the gameplay for me was expected gameplay. God of War is a more linear experience, but the graphics are fucking insane. The vision is insane. The spectacle is insane. The set pieces are fucking insane. I was absolutely wowed so many times in that game. I just would watch a scene and I'd be like, I can't believe this. Someone thought this up and they did it. And that's just such a feat for not even games, but film or anything. Visualizing larger than life concepts. The humor's good in it. The characters are good in it. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic game, and it's gonna live on. It's gonna have a legacy of being one of the great games ever made. And I think I can't not pick it for my Game of the Year. So that's my verbal puking. I could go on.
One thing, I mean, I'll just pass until it's my turn.
It's revealing. All right, so but hold on, I want to say one thing real quick though. Shout out to Red Dead Redemption 2. It was rivaling God of War, and it should have made my runners up, but it wasn't. It doesn't deserve to be down there. It's alongside God of War. Just God of War resonated with me, whereas when I beat Red Dead Redemption 2, I really fucking loved it. Had slow parts for me and gameplay elements that I thought were aged, or haven't aged very well. But the story and the characters in that were fantastic as well. But God of War, I just left it wanting more from it. It still resonates with me. It's a story I still want to talk about. So that's the reason why I did not pick Red Dead Redemption 2, but I definitely encourage and hope a lot of you did pick Red Dead Redemption 2 because it absolutely deserves to be Game of the Year as well.
People 100% did. You go into Twitter or any forum or anything when they're discussing the Game Awards or IGN's pick, and it was literally just people going, "Oh, Red Dead got robbed," blah blah blah. Well, it didn't necessarily get robbed. It'd be hard to say that, like you keep saying, that one isn't deserving and the other.
That's my thing, man. Like, I don't want anyone coming out of this video thinking that I did pick God of War over it, but I am also acknowledging that it deserves to be Game of the Year, 100%. So I'm with you. If you pick it for Game of the Year, I agree with you. Like, it should be. Me personally, though, God of War just did it for me more. But they're both fucking masterclass games. Just God of War was just something new, something explored that hasn't been explored, and I really just feel the fucking passion for that game. You can tell the people who made it love that game and just wanted it to do well. That's why when you hear them talk about it and they get the praise, that they're just like so blown away, because like you could tell they really cared about this fucking game, and it paid off, and it's awesome. It's fucking awesome.
For sure.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 absolutely is great. Hopefully some of you picked it. I know you did. And no one got robbed. This year has been stupid. It's not like, Zelda came out and you knew it was going to win because it's Zelda. It's like there's so many contenders.
I would almost feel like Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, like those almost got robbed because they had to go up
Spider-Man and
against
Monster Hunter World did get robbed.
Yeah, because they had to go up against huge fucking greats.
Behemoths, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even though
because-
they're greats themselves. Like, it's
Yeah,
insane.
like Spider-Man any other year, if it did not have Red Dead Redemption 2 or fucking God of War, would have won.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter World had for the first time ever a chance to fucking win big this year because they nailed it so hard, and those games came out this year.
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking chance.
Fuck.
Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War, there's nobody who could have fucking even rivaled them. Spider-Man, I keep saying, is in this weird area where it's better than almost every game that came out this year, but it's not better than those two. So it just got stuck in limbo. Yeah. So unfair to Insomniac. They so deserved huge recognition for that game. But you just had two fucking behemoths. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 was an event.
Oh yeah.
It's years in the making. People have just been like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It came out and it's fantastic, and people loved it. The online, different story. But yeah, God of War was just a fucking treat, man. Like, I didn't expect to love it that much. I watched all the videos, I'm like, this looks cool. And I played, I was like, holy shit, they fucking knocked it out of the park. I am a God of War fan. Which is bizarre. I love that game.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
Yeah, not me. Go back. I'm gonna go back in time and tell me, like, you're gonna pick in 2018 God of War as your game of the year. I'm like, the fuck I am. What are you talking about? God of War sucks. So, yeah, Chevy, what is your game of the year, and what goes into your game? I don't think I really said that, but yeah, I've explained it before. It's about what hits me, what stays with me. God of War did that. That flavor didn't go away.
I mean, so what goes into my game of the year? We kind of touched on it in a prior episode, but in case you didn't watch the episode, it's not obviously a black and white thing. A lot of people like kind of drive hard points, like, oh, I got my money's worth time wise, or it was graphically amazing, or the online was great.
Well, and to that point, real quick, it's funny that some people really worry about the money and time investment, and some people don't have the same means as other people. So when they buy a game, they want it to last, which makes complete sense.
100%.
But like, I play a game like, and another shout out, A Way Out. A Way Out was a $30 game, and it was 10 hours, and I would have gave them $60 for that fucking experience. I loved it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of games like that one for sure.
Yeah.
So I would encourage everyone to play that game.
100%.
So, but yeah, big one for me, and Seth kind of said it too, and I think most people would have to say this unless you just play games to be addicted to them.
Some people do.
Is fun. The game has to be fun first and foremost. There has to be something about it that's fun. I do enjoy addictive qualities in games. It's what keeps you, right? Especially the whole game as a service model. But when you're doing short burst games, or even upwards of, let's say, like 40 to 60 hours, the game has to be fun the whole time. Otherwise, you're going to put it down here and play something else. So that's a huge factor for me. The $60 is the standard. And you're going to get a 10-hour game. You're going to get a fucking 700-hour game. It's going to be all over the place. So it's really hard for me to kind of say time versus money. That works more for games as service games for me, and not all games. So I also think that when you play a game, you can tell a company made it or people made it. And that might be kind of weird, but that does play into mine a lot as well. I like to, when I play a game, feel like there was people behind the game instead of just a machine creating a product for me.
Which is why Assassin's Creed isn't on my list. It is fantastic, but it feels algorithmic. It feels like they changed some structures that worked before in a good way, but it still feels like, it's a game that's built to everyone's going to like this.
That's why I think a game like Call of Duty can't be Game of the Year.
I agree.
So
I play the fuck out of Call of Duty.
That is a designed game to do what it's doing to you, which is essentially give you constant dopamine hits.
Yep.
So
100%.
So with that, one other thing I have to say, if you've been following the channel for a while, I usually have a trend I usually really enjoy Japanese games, and a large part of that is because Western games are more grounded, usually more realistic. Japanese games are very out there and larger than life, and I think that really speaks volumes. You do see it in Western games a little bit. Last year, Horizon Zero Dawn,
100%.
very larger than life, very cool game.
Very imaginative.
I loved it. Yep. Which brings me to this year, which following up Seth, is God of War. God of War is so much larger than Western games usually do. And because it's a Western game, it has all those things you expect from a Western game. The smooth gameplay, the storytelling is more harmonious as it goes through and less convoluted. I love Japanese games, but we usually tell stories smoother here.
Yeah. More cinematic.
For sure. And that's coming from you saying Nier Automata was my game of the year last year. That story is, you have to be paying attention. So, and I can literally sit here and say everything that Seth said. So I'm not going to do that because you don't want to stay here all day, I'm sure. So I'm going to just highlight some things that
they want to hang out.
I just want to highlight some major points for me that really kind of stuck out for me. It is a memorable game. There's no point in my life I'm going to go, what was that game I played on PS4? Really? No, the God of War is up here. It's stuck there forever. It was.
What's that boy game?
Yeah, it made an impression.
I don't want to say that out loud.
The scale is absolutely amazing to behold when you're playing the game. The example which I would give without doing storyline stuff is when you get to the lake. And
the world serpent.
The world serpent, but even throughout the progress of the game, the level design constantly changes, and these areas become even larger. Somehow they do that.
Yeah, the world you're existing in and exploring expands in a really interesting way that reminds me of something between Dark Souls and Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's 100%. I've used the example before with this. This is adult Zelda.
Yeah.
Or mature Zelda would be a good way to put that. It is the same type of game. If you're a Zelda fan and you like mature you're okay with mature content. This is that game.
Yeah.
Characters are great. Every voice actor is great. The story is great. None of the characters feel shallow. Seth said it already. Twists and turns, unexpected things happen in the story, and it leaves you wanting more. There's questions at the end, which is amazing. And you can tell it's a passion project. And there's a reason he cried when the reviews came out, because he did put it in his whole self into the game. And when you play it, you feel like people made this game. And I think that resonates.
It's a passion project.
For sure.
On a huge scale.
Combat is great. I'm usually not a huge fan of super combo heavy games. I usually kind of pick something that works and do it. And I still kind of did with this game. But later in the game, when you have more options, to be vague, I did find myself actually finally switching around and doing other things. So even for someone as resistant as me, just trying to get through the game, I did finally start playing around with the more technical aspects of the combat. So I mean, I really can't. I don't think I could say enough good things about this game. It deserves everything it's gotten and more. So.
One thing I was going to say real quick about the combat and kind of sticking with the combo because it works. A lot of games like that, that's exactly what happens for me. Is I'm like, all right, this does the most damage. I get hit the less when I use it.
Dynasty Wars.
Fuck it.
BioShock.
Yeah. There's games that follow that very linear combo system. God of War was one of the first games in a long time where I can literally use anything. It was all effective, and I didn't feel like that I was shoehorned into using one combo just because it was the best combo.
I almost felt like the enemies too almost incentivized you to have to switch up your combos. You could go any route, and I did sometimes, but other times I would switch shit up because of the enemies I was fighting, which was a good thing because it does seem like, and even like when you go online, people are like the best build in this game or the best gun, and there's always that aspect. In this game, it definitely wants you to try different techniques and hop around a bit, which I really appreciate because I hate having the end all be all. It makes the game really boring for me when I find the thing that works every time.
For sure.
So not only is there things I want to do, but the game also with the enemies will switch out, like elements and stuff like that. Now I got to switch up my weapon, which, kind of reminds me of The Witcher in a sense. Because in that you have 2 different swords for different types of enemies and shit and different spells. This takes a note from that. And yeah, that is definitely a more. The combat never feels like you're just hitting the button and killing everything. You're thinking about every move you're making. You're thinking about every move they're making, which is awesome. And yeah,
you have to constantly pay attention.
Yeah.
But not in a annoying way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I hate, because sometimes I just want to come home and play a video game, and I don't want to think too hard. And even though God of War does make you think, I never felt like I was being stressed out to think until you get to the post-game content.
yeah. It's not like you're
So-
playing fucking Civ or fucking some game where you got to really be paying attention to your skill tree because it's massive.
Souls.
Path of Exile.
Woo.
Yeah, the only thing you think in that game, every time you ding, you're like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, I got a fucking plan for my
I'm gonna
future.
town portal back to fucking town and see, because this is gonna take a minute.
Path of Exile, yeah, it's like planning for your kid's future, going to college and shit. How much you gotta fucking save up. With that, I'm like, I'm about to level. I need to figure this out.
Well,
So, game of the year.
yeah, for sure. For me, it was obvious.
Anything
for
come
sure.
close?
No.
Which is awesome to hear because I knew you were gonna like it, but after you beat it, you seem to have been really into the experience, which is cool to hear.
Well, I mean, and like I already said, I'm huge in Japanese games because they're not afraid to just be huge and larger than life.
They're not afraid to be video games.
Yeah, and a lot of Western games are trying to be movies, which is great too. But I can watch a movie, and
I've played games where I'm like, that could have been a movie. I would have watched it. It was
yeah,
dope.
for sure. Well, and I think a great example of that is I don't
Order
know,
1886.
I really don't want to get hate for this, but like I'm not a fan of playing Metal Gear Solid, right? But I've
You're
watched
getting hate from me right now, dog.
I've watched you play every one of them.
So good.
And
So good.
And it was an enjoyable
They're so good.
experience for me because
Jesus Christ, my life's changed because those games.
and actually Last of Us is another example of that. That's something I got to watch, and I feel like I still got the experience, right?
Yeah, you don't have to play that.
And then as far as like Japanese games, or in the case of a couple Western games now, like Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, I feel like I'm playing a video game. It still has serious tones, and it's believable, but it is very much fantasy. So, and I
Yeah,
like
just when I was saying the risk of going in a fantasy direction that no one else is really doing with like Norse mythology and all the Thor and Odin shit. People have touched that lightly and in like a very expected way where they're gonna have the horn helmets and all that shit.
Same thing every time with everybody.
But this feels so much like Lord of the Rings of that shit. Like it's just grounded and feels like this world exists, and like there's just like stakes, and there's this darker element that the prior God of Wars did really well with their Greek mythology, where there's the darker element to like the gods are fucking shitty. And Kratos has done shitty and horrible things to kill these awful fucking people who don't, it's not from a human perspective, those games. Humans don't fucking matter to these people. And it's just really cool to see that carried over into this. You're experiencing a world through the eyes of gods. The enemies in God of War are all really hateable characters that are just really, you really love fucking just throwing them through shit. But they're also, they have reasons, and they have like their own arcs and the reasons they exist and the reason they're doing things, and like a whole family tree that's really fucking interesting that you're fucking with.
Yeah, when they come off, like at first in the game, very like almost simple. You know what I mean? And because they do a good job with character development, they do become very complex characters by the end.
Well, it's cool too because they're all coming from the God perspective. So like they don't view the world in a way that we would. It's not a challenging world to live in. It's just easy because they're gods. They do whatever the fuck they want, and you challenge them. They expect more from you to a certain extent from the lore they've heard, and eventually they get what the fuck they expect, and you challenge their existence, and they suddenly get to feel what it's like to be human. Real threat, real life threatening stakes.
Real fucking quick too.
Yeah, and it's just a really cool thing to see these pompous assholes finally have something, some kind of stake in their life that they're like, holy shit, there's something that might actually challenge me in my life. And it's just a really cool thing to see from, you know, a character that's not running off of ego, just doing what has to be done. So fucking cool. I'm getting chills just thinking about that fucking game right now. So good.
Yeah.
God of War is great. Play it. Play it.
Mr. didn't play it this year.
He's too busy playing. He's too busy making characters in Soul Calibur.
All the characters.
Joshua, what goes into your game of the year? And what is it?
So
You have 5 seconds.
What goes into my game of the year is God of War. So what goes into my game of the year is whenever I like little sneaky treats. So like
Scooby snacks.
so like stuff like
Where do they come from?
Like Red Dead Redemption 2. I knew that was coming. You know, I knew that was, you know, like, okay, that game's going to be really fucking good. It's going to hit a lot, you know, it's going to hit those check marks.
100%.
You know, games like that, I'm not as interested for my game of the year because I know they're going to be fucking good.
It fulfilled
I know-
what you wanted and
yeah.
more, but it still was expected.
Yeah, like Yakuza 0, I never had a whole lot of experience with the series, but that game brought me into it. I am now a fucking fan of Yakuza, and I want to play them all, and
Me too.
You know, it really brought me into it. God of War, my game of the year for 2018, did the same thing. I did not give a fuck about God of War 1, 2, and 3. I thought they were cheesy, and I thought the whole violence as selling thing was dorky. I never enjoyed them at all. I tried to play God of War 1. I got like a quarter of the way through, and I was like, fuck this. But God of War, but I'm just call it God of War 4.
Yeah, that's fun.
But God of War brought me into the series. I care about Kratos now, and I care about his journey from here on out. I will always now be a fan of God of War until, you know, something bad happens, if something bad happens. But
Bad women with prosthetics.
but it brought me into the series. It was a complete, like I said, sneaky treat. In 2018
It's tasty. It's a sneaky treat.
that I can enjoy and have it not be my expectations not already set, and I'm just checking off boxes now. It was like something that I was like, this is fucking awesome. I wanted to fucking play it. I think you played it before I did,
I beat it before. Yeah,
And,
I fucking flew through it.
and you told me to play it. Reviews were saying, "Fuck, this is good." I was like, "Well, shit." I mean, I'll try it out. And the very beginning fight in the beginning of the game with Baldur, I knew.
Yep.
I was like, "Wow, I'm beating this fucking game ASAP."
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
really,
that's
really cool
quite a
part.
way to open the game for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, it showed that Kratos is still a badass. He's still a god, and he's
Rusty.
he's not afraid to fucking to rumble.
Yeah.
And that whole, as much as he doesn't really want to do it, that whole game, it brings back his character from the old days.
Yeah.
He'll fucking kill if he
Yeah.
needs to. It's not as relentlessly as he used to be.
Yeah.
Because he has matured.
Yeah, there's a mature brutality to it.
Yeah, so
It's less about punishing and more about just getting the fuck rid of the threat.
yeah, so it was very very good, very nice surprise, and like I said, it made me a fan of this series for life.
It's a sneaky treat.
And I really enjoyed the soft. It was a very soft open world. It wasn't like you were able to do whatever the hell you wanted, but it did guide you in ways that didn't make it like, here's the world, go fucking do something.
In ways that allowed me to beat it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so I got to give it props for that, because one of the things I know you don't like is how open worlds are, because you just get lost in all the hustle and bustle.
I can barely play Red Dead. So.
The absolute epic scale of the whole goddamn thing was insanity. From the World Serpent to a few other bosses and set pieces, I was like, what the fuck? Like, and not in a bad way. It was more like a holy shit, this is insane way.
And sometimes it's just the scenery.
Many
100%.
times.
Even the
I
world
was
serpents
like,
in different positions, I'm just like looking at like, man, that's fucking cool.
yeah, not the chisel. Like that part was really fucking cool.
I mean, the whole fucking around the end segment set pieces are just so fucking huge and epic, with like emotional stakes. It's
Going to
amazing.
the different realms was really cool, because you hear all about these, you know, dropping just in general, dropping Kratos into just another mythos, you know, of gods and stuff like that, where they can
New
really,
region.
where they can explore him more. Because if they put this game back in Greek, like, where the fuck they gonna go with it? You know,
Well, I'd love to see what they did with this in that area now, but yeah, it's part of the story's over.
They somehow also managed to marry different mythos into a world as if they all coexist at the same time too.
Yeah, which is fucking dope.
Insanity.
Yeah, it's like a different region of gods, which is really cool. And what you're saying about which I never touched on, the different locations. Again, when I said it's a visionary game, they take you to these places everybody's heard about. You know, fucking Helheim, Elfheim, Niflheim, yeah. And seeing like where mythology starts with the whole idea of Helheim. Their idea and their visual style of it is so fucking alien and so realized when you're there, and barely a spoiler, but like you see this giant fucking raven out in the distance, which really doesn't get. They don't really sit there and explain it to you and hold your hand about it.
Shit.
But it's there, and if you look it up, that's part of the whole mythology of it.
Yeah,
and
he's like the keeper of souls or something like that.
And it's fucking eerie, and you feel like you are in this mythical world.
And
where
it's
like
so fucking big. Like you're like looking at it, you're like, that's pretty big. And then you get kind of closer to it, you're like, Jesus Christ.
And you never get that close.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And you feel like
you're
you're on this epic fucking adventure through different realms.
Yeah.
Even getting to the realms is such a neat idea of rotating that whole fucking like
the whole
island.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and
only Kratos can fucking
muscle.
strong arm that
Sorry,
shit.
Chris.
Yeah.
Just so lost.
There's so much to that game, man. You're not remembering this.
Like the mythos aspect of it, like I can kind of understand what's happening, but I mean, it's a game I didn't play, so
Just no game has journeyed to those areas in mythology, and they did, and they fucking just killed it.
You know, and how like even in the very beginning they hint to twists it towards the end. Or towards the middle of the game and stuff like that, and if you're paying attention and look, you're like, oh shit, it's not just like a detail they added like later.
Well, there's shit that's throughout the whole game that you look at constantly, and at the end it fucking tells you what that was, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Whatever his ass is, the satyr, the guy you.
Oh God, I forgot his name.
Yeah, I do too. But he's like the wise, the sage or whatever.
He's such a cool. Without talking about him physically, such a cool part of the game that really. The set pieces are amazing, but even the in between stuff, there's always dialogue happening. You're always part of the story that's happening. There's no part where the characters are just like. And then they go into like, you're wasting time fucking animation where they're tapping their foot and checking their watch. Like, they're always talking and saying shit about everything that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you have multiple people on your journey who are all talking and stuff. You feel like this is actually happening and you're witnessing it.
Yeah, the boat rides we're
Not
never
boring.
Yeah, we're never like and a leg up over Red Dead. We're never like because the horse journeys in Red Dead were just
I had a plan. They talk.
That's a good boy.
Good boy.
You know, and like, and they did, but like, it wasn't like God of War where they were like,
Chris feels violated.
Atreus is like, hey, tell me a story of your time, and then Kratos would tell him a story.
Yeah.
And they even did it to where, like, if you got out of the boat and you got back in, they're like, all right, where was I?
That's one thing
Or they'd
that-
be like, anyways.
Yeah.
That's one thing I have to give credit to Red Dead though as well. Though they did a really amazing job that if you interrupt a discussion, there was multiple ways that they'd start that discussion back up. They're like, okay, get back on your horse. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, and then they fucking start talking, and it's so cool to see that in games now.
Yeah, and it's super rare. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
one
just-
thing
it's
I will
new.
give Red Dead is how many fucking they had a voice line for literally everything in that fucking
Dude,
game.
everyone was talking all day, every day about everything that fucking was in that world.
Yeah, so-
Technical marvel.
But I digress.
Grass Tyson.
The way that the world very softly reset, you know, as you got to those different stages and added more to it. Being able to change out his armor, which I thought the customization of him, of his weapons,
Stats.
you know, of Atreus.
It was pretty reminiscent of the way they did it in Horizon. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, how visceral the combat was. You said very mature brutality. Yeah. There was like when you threw your axe into somebody and went like it was a fucking sound.
Or you throw them up in the air and throw your fucking axe at them, and they're doing cartwheels and shit into stuff. Like it's
doing
intense.
your cooldown moves, which change and you can upgrade, and it had so much versatility in how you wanted to play the game and how you wanted to fight things, how you had to change how you fucking fought things. The combat in that game was top fucking notch, and but there was not really like Spider-Man, there was not really anything in that game that I would have considered hard on normal difficulty, at least. I had a problem with one element, with those elementals.
Did you fight any Valkyries?
Yeah, I fought
pretty difficult.
two or three of them, and
I've beaten two, and then the third one. And it's funny, every guide I read a guide, you know, after that, I was like, what the fuck am I missing? And they're like, yeah, so just heads up, they're all like this now. The first two are kind of your entry point.
The Valkyries is so cool that there's end game content to keep striving towards, new game plus, but also like the Valkyries are all different, all fucking badass looking. Like you always see like pictures of Valkyries.
You have to spec out for them.
Yeah, but I was just impressed with their design too.
Oh, they're
like they
gorgeous.
made them fucking cool as shit looking, and not in like an expected like, oh, it's a fucking person with some wings.
an
Like
armor with a
they
winged helmet
look
and shit,
fucking scary. Like you feel like you're like running into like some ancient relic that just is a fucking ass kicker. Like you see him, you're like, oh shit, I gotta fight that. You're like you're Kratos.
They
you
are
look at him and
super
you're like,
intimidating
and you're
in
like,
my
ooh,
appearance.
fuck, like the slow, like just like waking up and getting ready to just annihilate you. Like they're so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was almost like they were like almost like angels. They were like waking from
there's
slumber,
something kind of
and then you know,
angelic about them.
Yeah, so but yeah, like those end game bosses were, you know, they were gnarly. I beat 3 and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like you guys, I can't say enough fucking good things about that game.
I feel like we could go on forever.
I mean, the
Luckily-
Dwarven brothers were cool.
Yep.
I really like their weird stories.
Yep.
And how one of them was just this asshole, and then the other
was a
one,
little bitch.
and
Well,
the other one was very like germaphobe.
Yeah.
This is almost turning into a God of War review, but because we're really dissecting this, and I'm glad that when you guys did your picks for this, you're bringing up shit that I really didn't. I mean, I was talking about mostly the idea, and you guys are really getting into those fucking nitty gritty points. And when I said like the humor is good, like there is obviously humor there. With all the characters in some sense it's fitting, but those two characters really were kind of like a reprieve, a nice like break from the epic story of like when you run into them. They're both completely different, but they're also both kind of assholes as well.
Oh, yeah.
In their own ways. Like one guy's like, "Don't fucking touch me!" Like take your hands off the thing, and then you go to hand him. He's like, "I'm not touching that shit." And then the other guy's like, "Hey, fucker!" And it's like they're just like they feel like brothers, and it's cool to see their story kind of develop. It's its own thing on top of many things that are happening in the game that just makes the game feel so fucking big.
Yeah, it was just that world was a step into Norse mythos.
It's been done better than anything I've seen in anything.
Thor's children, and and like hinting at Valhalla, and
There's so much shit they didn't even touch, characters they didn't touch that they're saving. Like they didn't shoot their wad early for everything.
Realms that you don't have access to.
Yeah.
Like in the big fucking Kratos turn machine.
That's turn machine, dude.
I think that's his.
Turntable, dog. He's up there on the ones and twos.
Even the side quests were fun. Like the dwarves were like, "Hey, go get me this," and then you'd have to go down through a cavern and get something for them. And that was a whole experience. It was a fetch quest technically, but it was so well done in God of War fashion that it was like, I didn't feel like I was like, yeah, I'll fucking get you. I'll do the honks. Well, whatever.
And the dialogue was worth it alone. Going on these things, you got more dialogue and more character development. Also, I hate puzzles in games, not because of difficulty or whatever. Like finishing a puzzle does not do anything for me when I'm done. I don't feel any kind of sense of achievement. If you do, that's awesome. But I typically feel like they kind of ruin the flow of games a lot of times because now I got to stop and fucking figure this out.
Tomb Raider was really bad at those.
Yeah, and this game, they were all like pretty basic, but you still had to think for a split second. And it had the Zelda thing where you had to sometimes wait for a new item to let you progress through it, and the rewards were worth it. There's always something over the fucking horizon that you were going to be getting or discovering, even in areas you'd already been to. Like
or to make a note that, all right, I need to come back here.
And that was awesome.
And it just, and the world was small enough that it wasn't like, oh, I gotta backtrack all the way the fuck back there, but it wasn't like, it was large enough though that it felt perfectly balanced.
It was the perfect size for the story it told.
Yeah, so
it didn't need to be any bigger.
Like I said, game of the year. It brought me into liking God of War, actually understanding and looking at videos and seeing who Kratos was.
Yeah, I watched videos catching me up completely.
But before this, and hearing the stories of God of War 1 through 3, because I really wanted to understand Kratos as a character, and it fucking did it. This game fucking did it. So,
that is one thing, and we should wrap this part up soon because we're already at fucking 2 hours. But that is one thing that's interesting is I had no interest in God of War. I'd played all the prior ones and wasn't into them at all. Didn't like them, blah, blah, blah. Played this. I loved it, obviously. And then, I can say I'm a fan of God of War now, but like, what does that actually mean? Well, I actually went back and got interested in the first 3 games. And even though for PlayStation Plus, for Plus Club, we had to play God of War 3, I actually started appreciating God of War 3 a little more because of God of War. So not only did it make a case for itself, it enhanced the whole series for me and created interest in a game I pretty much, was dead on arrival for me. So, which is a fucking huge task to do because I'm pretty set in, if I'm like, fuck that, to sway me on that when my argument's pretty good is quite the feat. So
sneaky treats, dude. We all love sneaky treats at Tastycast Gaming.
So I mean, three picks for God of War, 1 pick for Monster Hunter World. I think both are very fitting for this channel. Makes complete sense. I'm glad that these guys got their recognition they deserved, and I have to still, even though you picked Red Dead Redemption as a runner-up, which I'm glad somebody picked that. I almost did.
I just can't.
Yeah. Well, and you haven't played as much as we have. So.
Well, and obviously anyone new coming to this is going to be like, oh, fuck that guy. But, I mean, really.
Easy with that shit.
But if you've been following the channel, the sandbox games in general just are really hard for me. I just don't really. And not, like, difficult, like, to play, but as much as, like, I need, like, someone to go, hey, go that way. So.
Yeah.
My thing about Red Dead is, like I said, is, like, it's like the best kid playing sports. They're like, yeah, you're in the top. We already get it.
Yeah, we know they're going to be good.
Yeah, we can see you. Okay, you're going to be there. And then he performs. And you're like, yep, you're up there. Yeah. And that's what Red Dead was for me.
It's like if Ninja's going to play fucking Fortnite against somebody. You're like, yeah, he's going to win.
Yeah.
And he does. And you're like, oh, good.
Yeah, he won. Yeah. So, like, it doesn't surprise me that Red Dead is so far up there because they're the big kids on the fucking sports teams. But games like God of War, which are so a unique, nice experience. That is kind of
that's particular to that game because Santa Monica is in no way an underdog.
No.
That's a big company. It's made some legendary fucking games, but
and then had an expensive hiccup.
yeah. Whereas the series kind of died because they kind of drove it into the fucking ground like Activision would with the series, and then this brought it back in a big way.
Oh yeah. And I'm not saying they're like a underdog, but it was like holy shit. That was a great performance.
They achieved greatness where otherwise you'd expect the game to be good.
Yeah. It was like I don't know, like royalty fighting a peasant, and the peasant kind of like coming out on top. You're like, yeah, we want to root for the peasant.
Yeah, that's an underdog story though. But
I guess that's true. But yeah, that's my reasoning that Red Dead Redemption was almost not even on my list, just because like I knew what it was gonna do. I didn't know what God of War was going to do. So
my favorite, the big thing for me is my favorite part of Red Dead was the technology. I knew I'd really like it, but when I beat it, I wasn't thinking about all the impactful things. I was still just talking about the technology. Mm-hmm. The game still has a lock-on mechanic. The game still has dialogue, shoot people, run away missions that all Rockstar games have. It's just a vast and detailed and super impressive world to live in. That's the best thing about it. And the storyline is good, but it's still a cowboy story. And I love those. I love fucking Sergio Leone fucking westerns and stuff like that. So I know Chris is also like right next to me when it comes to that. And I think they fucking just really nailed that tone. And I love all the content that game has, all the clothes you can wear, all the guns you can upgrade. But when I beat it, I wasn't just like, whoa, what did I just experience? I was just like, that was they fucking Jesus Christ. I don't know if anyone can make a game as fucking big as Rockstar. People gave up on fucking Grand Theft Auto type games because you can't make them as good as them. They just they're Pixar, man. They're fucking superstars before Pixar's downfall. But yeah, like Josh said, they're just expected to be great, and they nailed it. With God of War, it's like, man, I don't really like the older God of Wars. And then you play and you're like, whoa, this is a whole new modern epic. Mm-hmm. We should probably stop it there, though, because we can keep doing this, and we still got to talk about a couple things. But yeah, 2018, an amazing year, and amazing games were picked for our picks for Game of the Year and runners-up. Let us know in the comments, what is your Game of the Year? What goes into how you pick Game of the Year? I asked you guys that already, but if you want to re-elaborate or tell me, because you didn't say on the last episode, let me know what goes into that. But yeah, why is it your Game of the Year? And then what are your two runner-ups? Do some shout-outs if you want to do real quick, all the games that you love this year, but try and follow our structure, because I think it'd be fun to kind of stay in theme. And let us know, two runners-up. Let us know if there's a particular order, it doesn't matter. And yeah, your Game of the Year, I'm dying to know what you guys picked as well. I have some speculation, but I want to know. And yeah, to close out 2018 and all the great games, I'm going to go through a quick list of games that released this year. And as I do that, you guys feel free to chime in. I'm not going to necessarily stop on these. Just be like, that was good, blah, blah, blah. I might ask some questions as I go through this, but going to try and do this quickly. You guys ready? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I literally typed in best games of 2018. Google has a long list of them, and we're going to go through them. So, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2 is on the top of that list. I don't think it's in any particular order, but it's definitely a popular game. We've already talked about that quite a bit. It's a technical feat, absolutely deserves, the most gratitude or, praise possible, 100%. Spider-Man. Of course, I think we talked that up more than really anyone in a lot of the awards. So I'm glad that was the case. Monster Hunter World, which we've brought up more than I think a lot of people did in their awards as well, and obviously is fitting, for this channel and this community, because a lot of us love Monster Hunter. God of War, I think we've talked about enough. It is definitely a good game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where did you guys stand on that one? I thought it was, just like Origins, it was fucking where Assassin's Creed needs to go. It's a very fun game, and it's a full-fledged fucking action RPG now.
I still need to play it in general. So
Yeah. I own it physically.
My biggest problem with Assassin's Creed is that it's getting to the point where it's almost too big.
Yeah, that's Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
They're
it's just
making
like-
huge games.
Like I'm just like to the point like when I zoomed out the very first time in the Assassin's Creed map, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I was just like, Jesus.
Yeah, I've been
Christ.
sailing the high seas, and I'm in like a small section of the map, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? This is too much game. How do you expect me to beat this?
Yeah, it was just like, and like the land areas, like you think, oh, it's all ocean. The land areas are so big; they're huge sections that you ride a horse around in and shit, and like, so it's just
And I hate it.
no, it was good, but goddamn, those games are almost too big for me to finish.
Look, man, that fucking title has ass said twice in it, and I hate Creed. You know, Creed equals not ass, but double ass. In. Chris, did you ever play any of the newer Assassin's Creeds? You have any interest in them?
Nope.
All right. Shovey, you want to try it?
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would skip Origins. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would argue against that, but me knowing you for a couple years, I would definitely say that I think you would enjoy this one. Finally, it is open world as fuck though. We literally broke it just like it's too big.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's a reason I don't own it. So
I do though. The game that's fucking mentioned everywhere, and I never even touched it. And when I go, is it really as good as they say it is? Everybody's like, yes, Seth, it is. You should play it. Celeste. Has anybody played it?
no, and isn't it about
Mental
health, mental
health
health thing? Yeah, I was gonna say I know nothing about this fucking
Empowerment.
game. So
Rising Above It.
Yeah, it was like
It's a 2D platformer.
Yeah, like
Beautiful.
And a lot of people are equating it like the level design to like Super Meat Boy and how it controls and stuff like that. Just tight, fucking platforming.
These games are always off my radar in a sense until they get this kind of praise because I'm not the biggest old school retro platformer guy. I'll play them, and every once in a while I'll play a game like Dead Cells, and I'm typically like, I don't like this kind of games. And I play Dead Cells, I'm like, this game's fucking dope. Shout out to Dead Cells. So it seems like one of those games, just like Ori. I still got to play that. Keith, I know you like both these games. I need to play both of them. And it's one of those games that I feel like I now have to play it because it's gotten so much praise.
yeah, well, that was Fez for me. I played that only because it was a free game.
I listened to the guy who made Fez, and I was like, fuck that game. I played it before I heard him talk, and then I stopped playing it.
I
So I was
beat
like,
Fez
I hate
once
that guy.
I did play it.
Damn, you beat that?
I beat it.
You're a Fez beater?
Yeah.
Damn, my own brother.
How dare he?
It was
a whole subsection of people who beat that game.
It was a very good game. So
It was a cool concept. That was when the indie scene was like fucking.
Yeah,
That was the beginning.
hopping.
Yeah. But Chris, did you play Celeste?
No.
No. Fuck. You even laughed at it.
I didn't even know it existed.
I think
to be
he's laughing at
honest.
the fact that you asked me if he played something this year.
He played some stuff. Dude, he actually played.
some things.
He played Monster Hunter.
He
all
played
year.
Spider-Man. He played Soul Calibur.
play
He
Spider-Man.
made things in Soul Calibur.
Made a lot of things in Soul Calibur.
Yeah. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate off my radar. I have not played it yet, but I'm sure it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Been playing it.
You've been playing it? Mm-hmm. What do you think of it?
I don't believe you.
Game of the year? You retracting your original?
It's something I probably should have put in the honorable mentions, but I wanted to keep it short and simple. But it's a Smash Bros. Game with it's yeah.
Ultimate. It's got everything.
It's got everything. It's all the old characters, all the old stages, some new characters, some new stages. It's Smash Brothers. It's fun.
Yeah.
They've changed how characters move and how they interact and some of their moves and stuff like that. But then there's a lot of characters who feel like they're just copies of each other.
Yeah. I mean, with that many characters, though, it's going to be really hard to fucking... I mean, that's like MOBA levels of fucking characters.
Well, I mean, they've got like Peach and Daisy, and I don't know the fine-tune aspects. I'm sure there's some little details that are different about them, but they feel like the exact same character.
Yeah.
Or Samus and Dark Samus. Dark Samus is a little floatier.
Waluigi?
Not in the game.
Oh, Waluigi.
He's a summon. He's an assist trophy.
Oh, that's... He's in the game, but not in it.
Yeah.
Wario's fat fucking
That's-
ass.
He's,
Richter and
he's
Simon
fat
are
and
basically
buff.
like the same characters.
That guy's fucking got muscle under that dude. He's crazy designed. I watched that guy's ass popping, and his fucking arms are just jacked rocks. They're fucking sculpted from fucking boulders, and then he's got fucking muffin top. And it's like, what the fuck,
It's
dude?
the shape of a ball.
Your metabolism works in weird ways that is not. He's not human.
Very controlled the parts of his body.
Yeah, it's bizarre. If I pick up a Switch, which I plan on doing once the fucking must-have title comes out, which is Monster Hunter, I should have picked it up already. I feel like Smash Bros is a must. I'll probably pick it up. When I bought my Wii U, I bought Smash Bros because like they're always fun to play. So
You can play as Snake.
I do love Snake
And Sonic.
a lot. I love not the new Sonic movie posters.
No, he plays like the old Sonic games. You can do the.
Well, I liked him in
fucking-
the Wii one.
He plays like that.
Yeah.
It's real similar to that.
This game is literally. So back in the day, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 came out, and then Mortal Kombat Ultimate came out.
I've been watching it too.
What?
Oh, you've been like
Twitching.
this whole time. You've been like reserved and kind of moving around while we're talking about this. Like he's got an opinion. It's brewing.
Anyways, Mortal Kombat Ultimate brought back all the characters and all the stages and just kind of made a big fan service game. And that's what this game does. Unlocking the characters are a little fucking nauseating. And not in like a bad way, but I'm just impatient. But yeah, I'm because there's 70 of the motherfuckers.
It's
And
ridiculous.
of course, some of them are clones. So it's like you unlock a clone, you're like, God damn it, I wanted a new character. But the game plays great. Other than I think the control scheme is fucking garbage. I had to go and change the control scheme. I really don't like how you can use the D-pad. It's a 2D fighter. You can't use the fucking the
Yeah,
D-pad.
that's annoying.
That bothers me. But it is something that's just kind of fun to go back to every now and then. It's not crazy. It's not amazing in my opinion, but it's solid.
Yeah, which I would expect from Smash Bros. I'm not the biggest fan, but I also, I like it. So, but I'm not like, wow, I love Smash. Into the Breach and Below, I'm just gonna put those together because they're indie titles. Into the Breach is a game I've been wanting to play. Isn't it made by FTL guys?
Same guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the mech.
I want to play that really bad.
Which looks cool.
keep putting it
Forza
off.
Horizon 4, another big regret of 2018. I played it actually quite a bit when I did play it, and it's fucking fantastic. I love Forza Horizon. I was at Horchata. I love Horchata as well. Yeah, so I need to hop back into that. In fact, I might do that soon because I have the time. Far Cry 5, I already said my opinions on. I fucking loved that game, and I can't wait for the new one. Black Ops 4, I got to give my credit for addiction to that game. I've been grinding in that fucking game hard. And yeah, I know you've been playing as well. You finally prestige, and you're already almost into your second prestige. So that's pretty fucking cool. And I kind of wish you had a reason to play it because the amount of work they put into it is just fucking addicting. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I forgot that game came out this year. It was cool. I did not play it as much as I would have liked to, which seems to be a theme.
To be honest, I'm not a fan of tag fighters.
Yeah, I'm not really either.
I like the one-on-one aspect of it because you just get into crazy combos and fucking their little boyfriends are just jumping in and fucking attacking. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
What's wrong with boyfriends, dog?
Why are they little?
You're my boyfriend, so fucking what up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was scary. We had a ghost throw something. So Hitman 2 came out this year. I was actually gonna skip over, and I literally just bought it yesterday. So, which is fucking cool that you can get all your missions from Hitman 1 and put them into Hitman 2, which I did because I had the Game of Year edition, and so far I've been liking it a lot. So kind of glad I did pick it up because I was gonna go, I barely played the first one, so why would I pick up the second one? But I'm digging it a lot. Let's go, or Pokemon. Let's go Pikachu. Let's go Eevee. Those came out.
Still need to pick them up.
Heard mixed things on them. I think they sound neat. I'd like to play them.
I have mixed feelings on it.
Yeah, it's neat they made them, but I feel like they kind of missed an opportunity there to make a full-fledged Pokemon game.
I feel I agree with that. I also feel though that they very much came out and said what the game was going to be, and if people were expecting otherwise, that's on them.
Yeah, it is definitely one of those situations. The absolute travesty that is Battlefield 5 happened this year. Hopefully we'll get the rest of the content next year.
It's pretty crazy because even I've bought the last 3 Battlefields.
I love Battlefield, and I won't buy this. We've covered that enough, though, so we're gonna skip right over it. Subnautica came out.
I think it came
Out
out
of-
of early access.
Well, I've heard very good things for years
It's
about
fun.
it. Yeah. Another fucking dark fucking stain on this year. Fallout 76, the year that everybody found out Bethesda's true fucking colors, their true intentions towards you as consumers, in the fucking canvas bag. Nino Kuni 2, we talked about that. Chevy actually brought it up, which is really cool that anyone brought it up because it is one of the most charming fucking games this year. Fucking fight me. Don't at me. A Way Out, something that I think me and Chevy have praised quite a bit, even though we don't talk about it, all the time, is definitely a highlight, and I can't wait to see what they do with the next game because that game is fucking
So
awesome.
the problem with that is you can't talk about it too much.
Yeah, it's hard to talk. Like it's and I'm glad we streamed it all the way through because some people aren't going to pick that game up, but they could watch us play through it. You can watch that in the stream section, stream playlist. We played it from beginning to end, and it is an awesome experience with some really fucking amazing set pieces. Really imaginative. The whole time me and Shay were playing, we're just wowed by it. So it was cool to sit down and play that with you, and the game was just awesome. I'd like to sit down and play it with you sometime. Octopath Traveler, a game that I very much want to play.
I need to beat it. And very much like when I did my review for oh shit, I forgot the name of it now. Wow, that's great.
I am Setsuna.
I am Setsuna. Yeah, I think it's a nice throwback piece, and I think anyone who is a fan of JRPGs, it's kind of one of those must-play games. I think. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like if you like JRPGs, man, you have to play that game. It got really good praise. It looks fucking awesome visually. I really want to play it. Jeremy's pick for Game of the Year, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
did you see that?
Correct me. No.
Oh.
Correct me in the comments, Jeremy.
I know he said he liked it.
He liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And he's been wanting me to play it. I played the first one a little bit. I liked it enough. I thought the death scenes were fucking insane. But it's a game I would like to play, but I have to play the other ones before I hop into it. I can't hop into the third game of a series like that. The Messenger, which I've heard good things about. It's a platformer. Just Dance 2019 in 2018. I know everyone here loved it.
Just like sports games. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Return of the Obra Dinn. Obra Dinn.
Heard of it. I have not played it.
It kept coming up on the Game Awards, so that's the reason I haven't really thought about it. But I'd be curious to watch something on it to know if I want to play it.
Come Benoit.
It's Come Benoit. Mega Man 11, which I haven't really heard a whole lot about. I heard it was pretty decent, but like after that, no one's really clamoring about it.
Right.
So apparently it was okay. Pillars of Eternity 2. I still didn't play the first one. I need to play that. I picked up this year. I think it came out this year. Divinity
2.
And it's fucking dope. I want to play that with somebody. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's cool as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pillars of Eternity, though, I would really like to play as well, because that's one that always popped up on my Steam. And I'm like, oh, I need to fucking...
It's on my wish list all the time.
Dark Souls Remastered, which it's Dark Souls. If you like Dark Souls, we got a fucking better looking version of it on the newer consoles, and it's fucking awesome. Sea of Thieves, a game I want to return to at some point. We played it, I played it once, and it was fucking cool. It was a cool idea, but
Sharks.
yeah.
Sharks.
Fuck. Well, he had an experience with them. We're to launch him into the sea, and he had to fucking survive. Cowboy had to
He was our
survive.
guinea pig.
Yeah.
Get in the cannon.
And then when sharks came after him, he didn't want to fight him, but he killed the fuck out of him.
And the guy in the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had some adventures. That's a game I want to come back to, though, 100%, once they add more content
They've
to it.
added a shitload.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's great about games like Sea of Thieves is, even though it's not good, like one of the games you can go, oh, this is amazing. It's definitely one of those games you always walk away with stories though.
Yeah, it's an open-ended game where you get those experiences.
Yeah.
A game that I think needs to be shouted out this year, Warhammer Vermintide 2. Sick ass fucking game. If you like Left 4 Dead or The Last Vermintide, this is a must play. It's so good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I need to return to that, but it's a very fun game. Spyro Reignited trilogy, which I actually am going to recommend to people. It's very fucking fun, very clean looking. It's very cool. If you like Spyro at all, I think this is a must-have. Frostpunk, a game I really want to play.
Yeah, I want to play that too.
Got a lot of praise earlier on, and I've just been really again, this whole year has been me going, okay, I'm done with this game, on to the next game. Like, I gotta fucking beat these games so I can talk about them, with confidence, like, know what the hell I'm talking about. So it's a game I need to go back and play. Valkyria Chronicles 4, I for some reason thought that came out like 3 years ago. So that's out. Battletech, a game I'm kind of interested in. Destiny 2 Forsaken, which is a game that we probably would have never played if it didn't drop on PlayStation
If it was never free, I never would have really played it.
But shout out to it. I mean, fucking, they got me into it, and I really enjoyed it. Forsaken is the best Destiny has been.
Agreed.
So I actually am excited about where Destiny's going because of that. So shout out to Destiny 2. Forsaken. Ashen, a game that I keep seeing brought up. I have not played it, but I need to. There's so many games that came out this fucking year. Mario Aces, Tennis Aces, Super Mario Party, a bunch of Nintendo as a whole fucking killed it this year in their releases, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about exclusives and consoles getting supported, the Switch fucking is just killing it.
They were talking shit, not like talking shit, but they were like kind of bragging the other day. They're like, it was like half of all Switch owners have bought Mario Odyssey, Link, The Legend of Zelda, and something else, and then they're like, no other console's ever done that, where they like have them buy all three games. And I'm thinking, like, what do you think I bought a Switch for? It's for Nintendo games, you dickhead.
Yeah.
Like,
They're still bragging about their exclusives.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and they're all must-owns.
Yeah.
So
And,
that's
like,
that's the
thing.
point. Like, fucking, they're going like, we have exclusives, and fucking everybody buys them.
Yeah.
And it's cool because this is finally a time where I can confidently go, every game they're releasing for fucking the Switch that are exclusive to Switch are all good. Mm-hmm. They're not releasing bad games. They completely turned everything around, man. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. We're in a golden age of Nintendo again, which is something I wasn't expecting. We had Artifact come out this year. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Card game.
It's a card game, so I ain't playing that shit. FIFA 19, which I'm sure everyone's fucking talking about, and I bet it's probably on your Game of the Year fucking list. Divinity Original Sin 2, which I just started playing recently, and I'm fucking loving. That I can tell is gonna be a deep game, though. There's so much to it. Minute, which
Devolver Digital
keeps popping up. The art style really kind of pushes me away, but people are saying good things. Soul Calibur 5, 6,
12.
Soul Calibur 26, which we talked about already. Kirby Star Allies, which I don't know shit about.
It was actually like, it was just another side-scrolling Kirby game.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where you can have AI, because you'd have puzzles where you need like the cooperation of them.
Okay.
But then the AI would work faster than you needed to. So you can just wander through levels pretty much, because they would just kill everything, and they would just do all the puzzles themselves and stuff like that. So it actually wasn't fun at all. I think with people,
That was a lot to get through.
I think like
fun.
with people, it would have been better, of course.
Donut County came out, which was that indie game where you could move the hole
Suck the
around
hole
and drop
and
shit in. I actually
it's
want to
like a
try it.
weird Katamari.
And a Blaze Blue came out this year. I had no idea about.
Yeah, that's all they talk about on their Twitter all year. So,
Who does?
fucking System Arcs.
Oh, really?
That and their new Kill la Kill game coming out. So,
Which is kind of cool to know that's coming out. But that's 2018 in a nutshell. If you could, what would you grade this year for the games that were released?
Ooh. Shit, A. Solid A. Easy.
I'm gonna give it an A plus. It's the first A plus I've given anything on this channel. Obviously, it's not a game, so it doesn't have the same gravity to it. You're giving it an A, so fucking that's high. I have to give it an A plus just because there's so many fucking good games this year. We don't get years like this. We get good years all the time. Not this fucking good though. So I mean, I have to call it as I fucking see it. This is abnormal for the amount of good games. If next year has this many good games, I'm gonna go fucking insane. I don't think it will. Although I got a lot of games I got my fucking eyes on.
I don't know if I can.
Grade it?
Yeah. I mean, I can give like insight, I guess. Like, I think last year was better for me quantity wise, but this year had like obviously one very, I think, stellar game. I think God of War was really, really huge. So, but like I had Persona and Nier Automata and a bunch of other fucking games that came out last year. Horizon Zero Dawn. I think I bought more games last year than I did this year. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, B plus.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, because I mean, I played fucking everything this year.
Yeah, I didn't.
So for me, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Chevy. Like, I know there's a lot of good games that came out, but I didn't really play a lot of them because they didn't really. Like, Red Dead Redemption I was supposed to be a really good game, but I'm over westerns.
It's not your thing, yeah.
General genre. It's just not for me. So like, as far as like overall, it should get an A, but for me personally, it's just gonna get like a B plus. There's a few good games that came out that I really enjoyed. The few older games that came out, like the Secret of Mana remake.
Yeah.
It's great. I loved it. But it's just there's a few games here that I really
I
enjoyed.
think so.
That was definitely this year.
See, that's the point, dude. There's fucking too many games that came out. Like, it's hard to fucking remember what came out this year. And I think that's fair, just because me and Josh are more in the category of we play more varied games, not like, we just play a little bit of everything. You guys have more particular, likes.
I would say I definitely dabble a lot more than I used to.
Oh, 100%.
And I do play pretty much everything. It's just hard for me, like specifically Call of Duty. I can literally watch you guys play that, and I can acknowledge like all the things you're saying about it, but I know that I'm not going to play it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just a lot of games are that way.
That goes for like any online competitive game. You're typically going to be less drawn to.
And the sandbox thing, as I've said a million times too. So
yeah, so that makes sense. The games that were great, you acknowledge, but you weren't as involved with the amount of games this year. Whereas I've been involved with almost every fucking game outside of Celeste. So, and Josh is in the same boat. Me and him fucking play everything that releases. So, but yeah, so B plus, A plus, my first A plus. Can't wait to give a game an A plus. In fact, I'd probably give God of War an A plus. But there's my quickie review. And an A. I almost said a B. You said B, right? No, I said A. No, you said B. Josh hated this year. But I think that's gonna do it for this this episode. It's been a long one. Let us know in the comments again, what was your game of the year? What were 2 runners up? And if you could grade this year, what would you grade it? And yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. We have a water thing making noise, so we're gonna end this. But as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out my streams on Twitch and Chris's streams on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, all one word. And Chris is Tasty_fruit. Make sure to hit the notification button to know when we go live on a dual stream. If you want to watch my streams, you can watch them on YouTube as well. We have a Discord link down below to talk to us anytime, all the time. And we are on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you'd prefer to listen to us. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
I'm Josh.
I'm Chris.
And until the next episode, where hopefully we don't get interrupted by our new water filter, have a great week, guys, and take it easy. And happy holidays if you celebrate those. And if you don't, fuck it. Who cares?
Have a great day.
Have a great, dude. I hope you're having the greatest day. Take it easy, guys.